All right, everybody, as we always are, we are live on a Tuesday evening. It's myself, Mike Ballantyne. It is my buddy Cheese, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is the Lights Out Sports Podcast. You know exactly what it is. All right, we are going to be checking in on some traded players that have gone in the trade deadline. What are they doing? Were they good pickups? Were they bad pickups? Where were they in that cycle? What should we do with terrible umpires? And believe you me, we're going to talk about it. There are some. We're going to look at Josh Baez and the Ketel Marte story, the lights out terms, the lights out stat of the show, and the mega matchup. We'll look at all three of those. Cheese, what are we going to look at as far as the NFL, buddy?
Well, we're going to talk preseason for sure. We're going to talk young quarterbacks, and we're going to also talk about the insane amount of injuries that we've experienced in the preseason so far.
All right, those sound like fantastic categories. And ladies and gentlemen, in less than 5 minutes, the Flaming Five will be up and ready to go. And we're getting excited. I know Cheese is excited. I am excited because we're going to do all the Flaming Five, even the follow-up question with college football. Oh, guys, it's getting close, and we can't wait. But first, we got to do everything the way we always do it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is lights out.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Tonight, we rewrite the rules. The countdown has begun. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Cheese, that's that new intro. We got it going on. We might even have another new one before it's all said and done because we've got a brand new partnership. We'll talk about it later on in the show, and he is going to help us with some of those things. Are you okay, buddy? Is that head too big for your neck there, or what we got going on?
Neck's a little stiff. Slept on it funny.
Well, that's you know what would take care of that is you probably shouldn't sleep. You should do like I do and just not really sleep.
I love sleep. Hi.
Hello. We already got a few highs. All right.
Hey, Bacon plays random game.
Bacon plays random game. Oof. Yeah, that's a mouthful. All right. So we are going to jump into this really quick, Cheese. I know we've got college football to get to, we've got NFL to get to, and we've got MLB to get to here in the Lights Out Sports Podcast. So everybody, no matter what sports you like, just hang out. We will get to exactly what you guys want to talk about. Promise. All right, so before we get too far into this, Cheese, I have to do something that I usually don't do this in the very beginning, but I'm going to because last night, Cheese, I saw the best MLB game I've seen yet this year. And it involved this guy. That guy. I got to take the top off of us here so they can see his entire deal, buddy.
It even had a fight in the bleachers. White Sox fans and Cubs fans got in a fight in the bleachers. It had everything.
It did. I saw it on video today. Oh, man, that wasn't just a small fight, man. They were duking it out between each other.
I sat in the bleachers once.
A couple security guards and everything.
I sat in the bleachers once. And it was a day game. Mm-hmm. And I was one of maybe 4 people in the bleachers that was sober. So that's just not a place you want to start a fight if you're a White Sox fan. It's
No,
not. There's
no,
a lot of
probably,
drunken.
probably is not. I saw people just throwing hands, man. It was crazy. Absolutely pandemonium in there. And there were so many people that I saw a clip where one of the bigger security guards was just like, come on, all of you, let's go. And he was just like grabbing everybody.
Yes.
Oh, man.
But anyway, the game.
Yes, the game. PCA had one heck of a game. We'll talk about it here in just a second. In fact, you know what? Let me just do this. There. That is the MVP and the National League MVP watch. Their performances last night. Shohei was 4 for 5, 3 RBIs, 2 home runs, and Pete Crow Armstrong 4 for 5, 3 RBIs, and 2 home runs. How crazy is that?
Well, it's pretty crazy. Exact stat lines.
Exactly.
Did you see the PCA stat about something hadn't been done since 1957?
Where he hit the home run in the first at bat and home run in the final at bat?
Well, the first pitch. He had a home run in the first pitch and the walk-off homer. Not been done since 1957. Pretty incredible. And it wasn't just PCA. I mean, Nico Horner went 4 for 5 and hit the game tied the game in the 9th. So Nico Horner had a big game. Seiya Suzuki had another big game. So it wasn't just PCA, but yeah, coming up in the 10th, I just don't know what Will Venable, I believe, is the manager of the White Sox. Is that correct? Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you're thinking not walking Pete Crow Armstrong when first base is open, his run doesn't matter. I think it's one of the dumbest decisions I've seen this year. What do you think?
Especially when it got to 2-0. Because when it got to 2-0, I was like, okay, they're going to walk him. And they didn't. And then I'm like, you're giving PCA the chance to be the hero. I'm not sure how smart that was, and he proved that it wasn't very smart at all. But
well, he said he wanted to walk Suzuki next. Well, that's fine, but that means you have to get PCA out. So,
well, he could have walked PCA and Suzuki.
He could have.
Because again, the one run was the only one that mattered. That
and you would have put the game-winning run on third with less than 2 out. But still, like, that's fine. That's a terrible, terrible excuse because that means the only works if you get PCA out, and they didn't. So one of the best players in baseball was up and like, we're going to walk the next guy. It makes no sense. His excuse was terrible. Dumb decision, but it was fun to watch.
It was. That was one of the best games I've seen in a long time, from start to finish. I didn't see quite the beginning of the game, but I caught it later on, and man, that was fantastic. Yeah,
it started homer, PCA Suzuki, boom, boom, 2-0 like that, and then White Sox lead, Cubs came back. It was just a lot of fun, and it's the Chicago rivalry too.
Mm-hmm. But I want to ask you this, and then we're going to get into the Flaming 5-5 because I am excited about college football. Cheese, are you like me? I mean, I'm sure you are, but I'm gonna make sure you are. PCA MVP.
Yes, MVP CA.
Gotcha. So
yeah, I think he has to win it. I don't know if he will. Honestly, I think there's still a chance that he doesn't win it. That Shohei, but he needs to win it. Just if you want to put the two together, just look at the defense. Shohei doesn't play defense. Except if he is pitching, I guess he's out there playing defense. But just for the defense alone, how good PCA has been, that just adds so much more to his game.
But I want to tease this because I want to talk about it next week. I did this whole thing to tease this part right here. There are 3 people in the National League who I believe could be the National League most valuable player, the National League MVP. And currently, I would put PCA at 1, Shohei at 3, and someone else in the middle. And we'll talk about that.
I think I know.
Week.
Is he on a team I really like?
He is not, because you're thinking it's Chris Sale.
Oh, I was thinking Matt Olson. How good Matt Olson's been.
Okay, I figured you were thinking Chris Sale.
No, it's good. That's good. Oh, interesting.
But it is not Chris Sale. I will tell you who it is.
It's not Matt Olson?
Next week. It's not Matt Olson either.
Okay. I think I might have an idea, but I'll wait till next week.
Everything, Raman. Absolutely everything.
We're chill. We're fine, yeah, we're just talking football and baseball, and I'm looking forward to this college football season more than I have in a long. I'm just really looking forward to it.
Me too. All right, buddy. So speaking of that, let's get this thing going. Let's start with the music first. The Flaming 5 in 5. Here we go. All right, buddy. Well, of course, it's time. Dang it. Another screen got timed out.
I hope my time isn't disappearing.
It's not. It's not, because as always, I haven't started anything until I read the first question. So you're good.
Wait, hold on. Got a call.
Uh-oh.
It's Jaden Daniels' mom. We have to lower the timer from 5 to 4:59, or we're going to be sued. Going to be sued. The timer cannot start at 5. We have a lawsuit pending, Jaden Daniels people. So there you go. Yes, he owns everything 5. Cease and desist.
Oh, of course. Of course that's the way it's going to work. All right.
Hard to pretend your phone when you have headphones on. Hard to pretend to talk on the phone.
Right? It is very hard to pretend to talk on the phone.
I was like hitting my ear.
And of course, if I could get this thing all put together, this is great podcasting right here.
I've been trying to stall for you, man.
I know you are.
I did make a whole video.
Everybody's laughing at me right now. They're like, "Oh, look at this moron. He can't get anything right."
Video on my channel, Football with Cheese, on YouTube. Made a whole video. I talked about Jaden Daniels in the 5. I did a lot of jokes, so make sure you go to my channel and check that out.
It's actually pretty funny. I did.
Yeah. Had some fun with that.
All right, I'm actually ready. All right, so here we go. We're going to talk a lot, Cheese, about the AP Top 25 poll. It came out yesterday. So a lot of these questions are going to kind of be based at least loosely off of that poll. But keep in mind, Cheese, last year, 12 of the teams in the AP Top 25 finished the season unranked. Number 25, Boise State. 24, Tennessee. 22, Iowa State. 17, Kansas State. This is why I'm not starting it until we finish the first question. 16, SMU. 15, Florida. Number 13, South Carolina. Number 12, Illinois. 11, Arizona State. Number 9, LSU. And then 2 in the top 5. Number 4, Clemson. And number 2, Penn State. All of those teams finished unranked. So, Cheese, based on all of that, should you be worried if your team is not ranked in the preseason top 25?
No, because it only matters how you finish. No, you shouldn't be worried at all. It might feel disrespected, like, hang on, that's like not cool. But I just don't understand. I mean, obviously the Penn State to Clemson 4 look bad, really bad. But I don't know who could have possibly thought South Carolina was the 13th best team. Like, there's, that one is the strangest one to me. No, they just did not have the team to be that high. But no, I wouldn't be worried. Well, this
is for you. This is not for me. You're getting ready to ask me, but that's fine. We'll do a follow-up question.
But interesting. I mean, look at all. It's crazy because, there's a lot of teams in the top 15 that were not very good at all.
Yeah. All right. So, second question here, Cheese. Indiana is outside of the top 5 in most preseason polls. The last 4 times, the previous year's national champion was ranked outside of the top 5. They ended the season unranked. So, Cheese, do you think Indiana will end this season unranked?
No, I do not. Absolutely not. They're not ranked top 5 because they did lose a lot. They lost the number 1 pick in the draft as well. I mean, that's why they're not ranked. And it's, they don't have an Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia there as well. So they don't have the track record. Maybe that might be part of it. But no, they got a lot of transfers. They have one of the best coaches in the country. They win a lot of close games because of that. So I definitely think they're going to still be ranked at the end of the year.
All right, sir. Third question. Ohio State is ranked number 1 in most, and in the AP preseason top 25, they are. So they have now been ranked in the AP top 25 poll for 38 straight years. How impressive is that, Chief?
That's insane. That's really impressive just because that's hard to do, just not even have a scandal. Penn State scandal, obviously, that, they collapsed their team. Almost every university had some kind of scandal, some kind of coach leave at the time and lost the recruiting class, happened to Tennessee. Just one little thing go wrong can completely derail your year. So the fact that they just, for the most part, there hadn't been a big scandal. They've just consistently been, at least top 25. That's really impressive. That's insane.
All right, we got two more here. Clemson is not in the top 25 AP poll for the first time, Cheese, since 2011. I can't wait for your answer on this one. Does this mean there's going to be a changing of the guard in ACC football?
Yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, it was Clemson was the best, and then Florida State joined, and they were the best, and then Clemson. And then occasionally some other teams would be good, like Georgia Tech had a good year, or North Carolina, Virginia Tech. But mainly it was, and Miami did join, but for the most part it was Florida State, Clemson. And then Clemson had some bad years with Tuberville, but then they became one of the best programs in the country, and for years. And now, they're not near what they used to be. Dabo Swinney's just not the coach he used to be. He wouldn't. He didn't use the transfer portal. He finally is for the longest time. He didn't want to do it, and other teams were having an advantage by using it. It was so dumb. So because of that, they've dropped off a lot from what they used to be. 10 years ago, they were an incredible program. So yeah, it is a change of the guard for sure.
All right,
Clemson both dropped off.
Okay, so last question here, buddy. Alabama starts the preseason ranked number 13 in the AP Top 25. That snaps Alabama's 17-year run of being ranked in the top 10 of the AP preseason poll. So my question to you, sir, is, does this lessen the expectations for Alabama this season?
For you and me, yes, it does, I think. I can get your take in a second, but I think nationally, yes. For Alabama fans, absolutely not. If you've ever met some hardcore Alabama fans, and I have, I used to live in Southeast Tennessee, right near the border. They're crazy. They have to win the national title. They have to beat Auburn. And every year they have to win the national title, or it's a disappointing year. Those people are crazy. It doesn't matter if it's Nick Saban, Kalen DeBoer, whoever. They have to win the national title. So the expectation for them is we're going to win the SEC and we're going to win the national title. Look at all this time left.
I know. Look at you. Look at you.
I mean, do you agree with me? Do you think it's a nationally yes, but to them no?
I'm going to leave the music playing in the background for a moment. I got some things I'm going to pull up here, but yes, I think for you and I, we look at Alabama this year and we're like, okay, we're not 100% sure of the coach. That's the first thing. We're not 100% sure of some of the players on that team. That's the second thing. And so I think the AP saw that too, and they put them down a little bit. Down at 13 is low for Alabama, especially in the preseason. But I think it's justified. And because it's justified, that does lessen what we may or may not expect out of Alabama this year. I'm not even sure if they're the best team in the SEC. In fact, I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say, no, they're not. Not even close. They might not be the third best team in the SEC. They don't, okay, I guess Ty Simpson was a surprise first-round pick, but they did not – they usually used to have, under Saban, like 5 guys guaranteed in the top 50, sometimes 5 guys in the first round. They had Caden Proctor and Ty Simpson, but they had 3 top 50 players. That's it. And really, 3 players in the first 3 rounds. So they don't have the talent like they used to. They just don't. Yeah. They've been passed over by some other programs, in my opinion. We'll see if they bounce back this year, but I don't even think they should have made the playoff last year. They did. I'm telling you right now, when we do our preview show, I'm not picking to make the playoff. Ooh. I'm not. He's giving a little away there. All right, buddy. I can't wait. I can't wait for that. We only have 5 questions, but I wanted to throw this stat out to you as well. Ohio State is the first non-SEC team to be ranked preseason number 1 since Clemson in 2020, Cheese. That was not an SEC school. So an SEC school has been ranked number 1 every year since 2020. That's pretty impressive too, right? Yeah, it's usually Alabama or Georgia. It is. And Alabama, they're ranked 13. We said South Carolina was 13 last year and shouldn't have been. So maybe Alabama, maybe they shouldn't even be 20, but because their name is Alabama, they're ranked that high. So that's true. So you're thinking maybe the AP doesn't even think they're worthy of 13, but they only put them there because they're Alabama? There were a couple years where Michigan was ranked 17. They had a bad program. I'm like, why are they even ranked? They were terrible last year. It's like, if you have a big time program, I think the AP, I think they do give you the benefit of the doubt. They're going to bounce back. Oklahoma had some years too, a couple of years where they were not good. And it's like,
the year before they like won 6 games. It's like, what? Wait, they're ranked 15th? Like, wait a second here. But because it's who they are. So yeah, I do think there's some bias there for sure.
Interesting. Okay, so now we're going to do the 5 Flamin' 5 follow-up. We're still cooking, so it's going to be brought to you by Deutsche Snacking Company. I believe I have the right there. There it is. There we go. All right. Deutsche Snacking Company. This is the QR code that you can use. Go there, shop. It's great stuff. I have some myself. I should have brought it in here with me to the room, but it's in my refrigerator. I like the birthday cake. It's fantastic. I've got to try they've got like a new cinnamon toast crunch one that I need to try as well. So scan this QR code. You don't need a discount, because if you go there and you buy 3, you get 1 free. If you buy 5, you get 2 free. So, I mean, they've already got great deals that they have because you are a fan of the Lights Out Sports Podcast and of All Gloves Off Sports Media. So they are sponsoring this right now. Let me take that back off of the screen for just a moment. And let me add this, because this cheese is what we're going to do with our follow-up. The most top 25 opponents. And of course, this is based off of the preseason rankings. So as you can see, there's several teams that have 4 top 25 opponents this season, several teams that have 5, 6, it kind of dwindles down, and then 7, University of Kentucky, the Texas Longhorns, and the Arkansas Razorbacks all have 7. Cheese, talk to me about this, and how does it affect their seasons?
Well, I don't know how, but Arkansas always has the toughest schedule in the SEC. they always seem to. I think it depends too. Like, if a lot of those opponents are like ranked 19th, 21st, 25th, that's different than if you have 4 teams ranked 5th, 7th, 9th, and 10th. That's okay. Different. So it's where you are, like your ranks. Like Oregon's in there 4. Oregon's got a brutal schedule, but they're 4. Ohio State's 6. And Michigan's also 6. I'd have to look again, but I thought when I first looked at it a few weeks ago that Oregon had the toughest schedule in the Big Ten. Maybe they don't. Maybe you have to look at it again, but I think it really depends how high they are. But certainly if you're Texas, Kentucky, and Arkansas, that's not good. It's 7 of their opponents are ranked right now. It's not good at all.
And there are some people who are saying that Texas, this is Arch Manning's year, like it was supposed to be last year, right? And Texas is going to do it. And, man, I see this. And, wow. I mean, if Texas does it, I guess they're going to earn it, yes?
Yeah. Texas, they're really tough. They're playing Ohio State, right? Again?
Yes, I believe so. I know Ohio State and Oregon play each other because I was looking at that game.
Yeah. Texas probably has the most talented team Steve Sarkisian's had. They are absolutely loaded at certain spots. So just for that, they're going to be right. They lost 3 games last year. If they beat Ohio State, they're in great shape. But if they lose it again, like last year, they could be in a little trouble with the SEC schedule. Any SEC team, you really can't afford to lose any non-conference games anymore. You can't, because the conference is so deep.
And I'll tell you what else got me about this graphic right here. It's why I wanted to pull it up. If you look at the teams that have 6 top 25 opponents, those are really good schools. Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Ohio State. I assume that's Mississippi State versus State. Okay. Yeah. Michigan and then Oklahoma. So those are top 25, traditional top 25 programs for the most part. I think that's fantastic. That means we're going to get some really good matchups this year. Definitely looking forward to it. There's a lot of good matchups this year in college football. Sometimes Big Ten SEC opponents, they just don't, the rotation they don't get. Don't play, some of the best teams don't play each other until maybe not this year. There's a lot of games where you have 2 top 15 teams playing in those conferences. There's a lot of those this year. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. And Cincinnati's on there. I think they're the only. Yeah, I think they're the only one on there that's not a Big Ten or SEC. There we go. Good for Cincinnati. Let's see.
They must be playing someone non-conference.
Vanderbilt, right? The V down here at the bottom. That's. And you got Stanford. I mean,
Stanford's terrible.
Yes. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just looking at the
Okay.
teams here. So, yeah, I guess Northwestern, Nebraska. Yeah, you're right. Washington. Well, Washington is not a. They're in the 5 pool there, the big purple W. So, what are they?
USC's on there. Nebraska, Northwestern, Minnesota. There's a lot of Big Ten schools on this list. Big Ten, yeah, Big Ten, and well, Stanford's ACC. Yeah, okay.
Florida State, right?
Yep, there's Florida State. Okay.
ACC. So there's a few, but you're right. It's really littered with SEC and Big Ten schools this year. So
yeah, and Arkansas always somehow gets screwed.
Don't say though. Have 14.
They didn't win an SEC game last year at all.
I'm not sure if they're going to win one this year, but hey, I'll give it to them for doing the schedule, right? I mean, I guess it's part of it is the way it all falls and all that kind of thing, but I will give it to them. At least they're not doing Sisters of the Poor schedule and stuff like that. So yeah. All right, buddy. So we've done that. Fantastic. I am really, really excited about college football. And as we get a little bit closer and a little bit closer, we'll pull more and more and more college football into the Lights Out Sports Podcast. What we're going to do right now, Cheese, the Lights Out Mega Matchup. It's presented by Anubis Sports. They are the official sports website of the Lights Out Sports Podcast. There we go. Anubisports.com. They are opinion-driven articles, professionally written, and there are all of their links so that you can go over and see them. There's their Facebook, their Instagram, their X or Twitter, however you want to say it, and then their LinkedIn as well. So again, go over to our official website of the Lights Out Sports Podcast. That is anubisports.com. All right, guys. Let's put the graphic back on top here for just a moment, and I'm going to give you some MLB matchups that are going to happen over the weekend, Cheese. And I want you to tell me which one you're looking most forward to. There's 4 of them. There's not as many as there was last week, but we still got some pretty good matchups here. Braves at the Brewers. Cardinals at the Phillies. We'll talk about the Cardinals here in just a little bit. The Reds at the Diamondbacks. We'll talk about a Diamondback player here in a few moments. And Cubs at the Mariners. So I'll give you the 4 again. Braves, Brewers, Cardinals at Phillies, Reds at Diamondbacks, Cubs, and Mariners. Which one, Cheese, are you looking most forward to?
Braves at Brewers for sure. Absolutely. I think right now they're fighting for the top 2 records in the National League. So, yeah, definitely Braves at Brewers. What about you?
Well, I mean, I think you pretty much know which one I'm looking forward to. The 2 teams that I root for are playing each other this weekend. One, I think, just got beat again, so they're pretty much out of it. And then the Diamondbacks are kind of in some turmoil right at the moment. We'll talk about that more here with the Ketel Marte story. But Reds and Diamondbacks is what I'm really looking forward to. I was going to try to go to some of those games, but I've decided that, I need money more. So I'm just going to work, and I'll watch them on MLB.TV. So,
okay.
Sure. But I am looking forward to those. All 4 of those games, actually. Even the Cubs and the Mariners. I know some people are like the Mariners are out of it, but they're really not. We'll look at division stuff here when we do our batting cleanup presented by ForwardFan.com at the end of the show. And then the Cardinals are surging right at the moment against the Phillies. So all of these matchups have some kind of playoff implications to them. And I think that's great for Major League Baseball this time of year. We really, because football is starting to kick in, college football is starting to kick in, and I think they're going to have some people maybe start tuning away from it. But if they have matchups like this, you almost can't tune away from it. All right. Okay. Oh, I wasn't looking at you. I was doing something else here. So I was getting this big time graphic ready, right? Because we gotta go to the best graphic in all of sports. Because we're getting ready to do our MLB segment. So first, Cheese, let's hit them with the music, and then we'll hit them with that background. Here we go. right? And I think I say this every week. I didn't have the sound turned up at first, so it was like, oh, no, that's fantastic, Valentine. That's great. But we got it. We're all going here. We are doing our MLB 4-pitch talk. We, Cheese, are going to look at some of the players that traded hands in the trade deadline and what they're doing. We're going to look at umpires and talk about Hunter Wendelstedt, kind of narrow it down to them, but also broaden it back out about all of these umpires. You got Josh Baez, who set a record this week. We're going to talk about him and his Cardinals. And then we're going to talk about Ketel Marte and this story in Arizona. A few things that I may have for you that are kind of breaking. So it's a weird and developing story yet, and we'll get to that here in just a few moments, right here on the Lights Out Sports Podcast. All right, Cheese, let's look at a few of these guys. Now, these stats, Cheese, are from Sunday. So, yesterday, Monday, today, Tuesday, those 2 days are not counting in the stats that I'm about to rattle off to you here. These are a few of the guys that have been traded that are not seeming to do very well. You can give me an update here in a moment on Kevin Gossman, because I know he started tonight for the Cubs. But let's look at Tarek Skubal. 3 starts. His record's 0-2, 17 innings pitched, 19 Ks, a 3.18 ERA. Let's take them one at a time for just a moment. What about Tarek Skubal going to the Dodgers and how poorly he's performed so far?
3.18 ERA is not bad at all.
No, it's not poor.
It's not the typical Tarek Skubal, but he's not getting a lot of help either. I think every time he's left a game, he's been behind. They're not scoring for him. They're not playing well. So I think he'll be fine. I wouldn't be worried about that if I'm a Dodger fan.
Okay. Thanks. I really wanted you to say that's terrible and that they're going to, burst into
3.18 ERA. That's way above league average. That's good. It's just we expect to run lower from Skubal for sure, but I think he'll be fine.
But that is why I put it in there, because you're right. 3.18 is not a bad ERA. 9 out of every 10 pitchers in the major leagues will take a 3.18 ERA. Adley Rutschman so far for the Red Sox is 1 for 17 with 9 Ks and a 332 OPS.
I thought we talked about this. I think you emphasized they gave up way too much. I don't know what they're thinking. His bat had dropped off already, so I don't know why they traded for him.
Yeah, he's gotten a couple hits since the stat line on Sunday, but that's mainly because we'll talk about the chaos that the Arizona Diamondbacks are facing right at the moment, and they're in Boston. I don't know what the score is of that game either. You can tell us here in a moment if you have it pulled up. But Adley Rutschman, yeah, I agree with you in your assessment of he has fallen off. And I think this is going to be a bad trade for them. And all of a sudden, we'll talk about this in a moment when we get to our batting cleanup later on in the show. But look at where the Orioles are now. It's interesting. We'll talk about not just them, but a couple other teams too.
I do have an update on Rutschman. He's two hits tonight and 3 RBIs against the Diamondbacks. So maybe he's finding his groove.
Okay.
They are. It's 9-4 Red Sox. They're ahead. So,
Yay.
Yay.
Okay. We'll talk about why I think that's happening right now. And they're going through something that may make this whole team just collapse. And we'll talk about it here in a moment. Jose Soriano, 2 starts, 10 2/3 innings pitched with 7 Ks and a .169 ERA. He's doing well.
He's looked great. He's had a great season. The Braves really, really wanted him. I guess that I think the Angels wanted a prospect that was at least double or triple A. They got a top 50 prospect that's close. And the Braves, all their top prospects are 19, 20 years old. They're too far away. I think that's why they didn't get him. But, God, the Braves really wanted him. So, yeah, good move for the Blue Jays.
All right. And we'll talk about where they're at in the standings all of a sudden, too. Freddie Peralta got traded to the Rays. 3 starts. He's an 0-1 record with a 14 innings pitched in 3 starts. 10 Ks and a 7.53 ERA.
Why would you trade for him? He's not been good all year. He was amazing last year. I don't know why Tampa would give the Mets anything for Peralta. Why would you trade for him?
Cheese, I think you bring up an interesting point, but I think I can give you the answer. I think
love it.
Well, I think some of these teams like the Tampa Bay, right? And we we have even said this before on this show. It seems like Tampa Bay knows exactly what they're doing when they make these trades and stuff. And I think sometimes you can have a team like a Tampa Bay, and they can. It's kind of like that bad boy, right? And the women all think they can fix us, right? Oh, he's a bad boy, but I can fix him. He'll love me. And I think like
that's an interesting comparison. Okay.
I think Tampa Bay had the same kind of mindset here with Freddie Peralta, right? We'll get Freddie into our clubhouse. We'll get Freddie into our pitching program, and then we can fix Freddie Peralta. And so far, they have not been able to. Casey Mize got traded in 3 starts. He's got a 1-1 record, 15 1/3 innings pitched with 10 Ks and a 5.87 ERA.
I would not have traded for him either. Right before he was traded, the last couple of starts, his fastball velocity had gone down. He was having a great year, but I could see this coming with him. When your velocity starts dipping, that's a bad sign. That means you're probably gonna probably struggle a little bit.
Yeah, I'm with you. I wouldn't have done it, but I'm not the team that traded for him. So, but I will have to say that I know the Arizona Diamondbacks were in on him as well, and they were thinking about doing it. Did not make the move, and I'm kind of glad they did not. Now, let's talk about the guy who's starting right now for the Chicago Cubs. I'm sure you can give us an update on him. That is Kevin Gossman. Before tonight, he had 2 starts with a 1-1 record. He pitched 11 2/3 innings and 11 Ks, but he had a 6.17 ERA. Has it gotten any better tonight, Cheese?
This is strange. You ready for this?
Sure.
Anyone watching the Cubs game, let me know in the comments if I got this right. His left hand cramped up or stopped working. He's a right-hand pitcher. They brought him a snack thinking that would help. He tried to go and couldn't. His left thumb too, kind of locked up. He kept fidgeting with his thumb and left hand. So he had to leave the game early. I that's all I have. Twice the trainer came out. So second time they pulled him.
Was it in the same inning?
No, different inning.
Okay.
Non-throwing hand though. So it's like, okay. But they were giving him food. I don't know. Anyway, but he really had one bad inning that kind of made his ERA elevate. Just one horrible inning where his fastball was just flat and they were hitting the crap out of it. But he had one really amazing start. And one of the main reasons they traded for him is they don't have a lot of pitchers on their staff that can consistently go 7 innings. Obviously not tonight. And he can do that. He's done his whole career. He's a guy that goes deeper into games than most pitchers. And they needed that, especially with the way their relief's been going. So hopefully he's okay, but it's just non-growing hands. So that's the good news. Just weird situation.
Okay. Cheese, I'm going to give you 2 more. And while I'm giving you these 2 more and we talk about them, I'm going to ask you to switch over to your Braves game. I'm sure you've got the Braves on one TV and the Cubs on the other one, right?
Yep.
Because I know it's set up in there. So I want to talk about Tyler Mahle in a minute, too, even though I don't actually have him on this list. I've got these 2 guys, though. Luis Ariz, as of Sunday, was 13 for 53, 1 home run, and a 645 on base plus slugging. That's not a good stat for Luis Ariz, who gives you nothing else but hits when he's 13 for 53.
That's terrible for him. Yes, that's 1350. Yeah, that's under 250. He's got to hit 300 because he doesn't hit for much power at all. So yeah, that's not good.
And then the Yankees get Luis Garcia Jr. He has gone 10 of 42 with a home run and a 664 OPS, and he struck out 7 times since he was acquired.
He went 0 for 4 tonight. The strangest thing was he was an extra base hit machine for Washington, and he hasn't been doing that when he's gotten his hits. It's been singles, so just kind of strange. He just hasn't been as effective. And there's a lot of guys that get traded to the Yankees or Mets, New York, and just for maybe they put pressure on themselves or try too hard. They just for some reason don't perform after the trade. Pitchers and hitters. It's a weird thing. So maybe he'll turn around. But yeah, he had another bad night tonight.
I will tell you a quick Tyler Mahle story before I have you talk to me about his outing tonight. And he's been really good with the Braves. I've always liked Tyler Mahle.
Yes.
He and I did not start off on a very good foot.
Okay.
And I'll tell you this really quickly. He used to be a Cincinnati Red.
Mhm.
So I met him at spring training, but I didn't have anything for him to sign. He was a rookie, not very popular, not a lot of cards put out there with him on it. So I just had like a plain piece of paper, and I was like, Mr. Malley, can I get you to sign this for me? And he looks at me and says, "I don't sign plain pieces of paper, sir," and walked away. And I yelled at him a little bit, and got some other people to yell at him a little bit. He kind of threw his hands at me like whatever, and just continued to walk away from me. The following season at spring training, I made it a point to get some stuff for him. He actually remembered me from the year before and said, "Oh, well, at least you've learned." And he signed, but he was very gracious to me. I had like 4 of his cards, and he signed everything, signed them really well, and then said, "I hope you didn't take it personally. I just don't like signing things that don't have my picture on it." I said, "Okay, I get it. I wasn't happy with you at the time last year, but I understand." So I've always kind of liked Tyler Malley. He even, he gave me the time of day a second time, which a lot of players would not do. And then he explained to me why he did what he did. So I have to respect him for that. Cheese, how's he doing with your Atlanta Braves since the trade deadline?
It's been tremendous. 3 great starts. Unfortunately, they didn't score for him today. And God, the bullpen is starting to really concerning. Didier Fuentes has been one of their best bullpen pitchers this year until lately. He's fallen apart. Dylan Dodd's fallen apart. It's really concerning. But they only got 1 run for him. They're down 4-1 in the 9th. But he has just been a quality start machine all 3 starts, and they needed that. And a lot of people were criticizing the Braves deadline. All we got was Malley. It's like, well, he's been great. So, yeah.
Sometimes a change of scenery is good for people, but I've got a few questions about this trade deadline, Cheese. Do you think because what we've talked about here in the show, is the trade deadline overrated?
I don't know. This is one of those we could have a whole like show like special about this, but no, it's not. I mean, it can be, but it's not. No, it's not. It's not overrated. It's fun to watch. It's important. There's teams that are contending need to fill some needs. Unfortunately, sometimes the players don't perform in the new team. Sometimes they get hurt, like Micah Soroka with the Cubs last year. And sometimes they're amazing. Sometimes you're hitting 203 for the Royals, and then you traded the Braves, you become the World Series MVP in Jorge Soler. So sometimes you give up next to nothing for him. They're like, "Oh, you can have Jorge Soler. Oh, wait, World Series MVP." So I don't think it's not overrated for the team to win the World Series. They make some good moves. I'll tell you that.
Well, I mean, maybe overrated is the wrong word, but I will say this. There are a lot of people who are looking at a lot of different statistics, and they look at numbers. And I'm one of those crazy guys, right? You know me, I'm a big stat guy. And not a lot of times, but sometimes you just have to take a chance on a person and not their stat line. Maybe they were unhappy with the team they were at. Maybe they, some of these guys, and we've talked about that just in these past few moments. Casey Mize, for an example, he figured he was going to get traded. So maybe that messed with his head a little bit. Maybe those last few starts weren't what he thought they were going to be because of that. But then you've got guys like a Robbie Ray and some of these other ones that have been through these trade deadlines and things before, so they can handle it. So maybe it's a veteran thing. Maybe it's Tyler Malley's been traded at the deadline before. So maybe some of these guys that have been traded multiple times just know how to handle it, and they end up better on the other side once they get to the second team. So
that's a good point about being traded before at the deadline. You've already played for 4 or 5 teams. Might be easier than someone who's played their whole career for one team, and all of a sudden they're in a whole new city, whole new teammates, especially pitcher, whole new catchers too.
Yeah, absolutely. I can tell you that, speaking of catchers, I can tell you I read a lot about Tyler Stevenson. I'm not going to tell you that I talked to him because he's obviously in Cincinnati and I'm in Arizona, so that didn't happen. But I know that him and his wife went around to a bunch of the places that they like to eat in Cincinnati over the last couple of weeks knowing that he was probably going to get traded. He didn't end up getting traded, but he thought he was going to. So he went around and he did that, and supposedly he tipped a lot of the people really well that he saw at those places for the last time. And all
just
of
in
that.
case you're traded.
Just in case, right?
You're going to enjoy it because we won't only be here like once a year going forward. Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's always little things like that. So kind of leads me to this, Cheese. Does it make it hard to get acclimated to a new team?
I mean, it can, it can't. I mean, it just depends. Like, some people are just great fit for the team. They just great fit in the locker room. But like a catcher, especially, like you have to learn a new pitching staff, Rushman. You play in a whole new ballpark, pitchers, new catchers. You might used to be hitting, say you're on a team that's not very good and you're hitting third or fourth, and you go to a contending team, you're hitting seventh or eighth, and you're not used to hitting in the bottom of the order. It's a whole different vibe. Maybe you're in a ballpark that favors someone who is a gap hitter, and then you go to a ballpark that favors someone who hits it more down the line. So, there's just a lot of fat. Plus, you have to move and maybe live at a hotel, for the rest of the year. That might be away from your families. So there's a lot of factors on why they might not perform.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of stuff that we probably are not really privy to. Because I don't think the players want to cry and whine about it. And they're all going to say the right thing, right? They're all going to, when they go to the contender, they're all going to say, oh, well, I wanted to come here because I want to win. And they might not even necessarily like it. Or they may have, maybe I shouldn't say they don't like the new team, but they're just, the familiarity with the old team just makes going to a new team difficult. So I think there's some things that happen within.
Yeah. Well, most people are traded or rentals, right? More than half.
Yes.
And if you're traded to rental team, you don't know if you're going to resign there. So you're not going to get a home or an apartment. You're going to be living at a hotel the rest of the season. So, yeah. And I tell you one thing I like what teams do, like when some teams will trade their rentals and then go try to re-sign them back. So you get prospects for them, and then you bring that player right back the next year. I always like when teams do that.
With the Diamondbacks comes to mind.
Yeah, the Cubs did it. I mean, with what's his name? I cannot think of his name. They did it with a pitcher. He was number 4 or 5 starter, really important guy for them. I can't think. 10 years ago, you guys can think who I'm talking about. They traded him to the Athletics, and then he was a rental, and they re-signed him the next year. But anyway,
no, I can't tell you who that is. But I do want to ask you this while while that brain's thinking, and maybe we get a chat from someone else who knows who you're talking about. Does this, Cheese, make off-season moves more important?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to have to trade for guys at the deadline, right? You don't want to have to, but you almost everyone does.
Yeah.
Because of injuries more than anything else. But you could have every single spot. You could have 8 guys that can start. You could have your lineup great. You could have a good bench. But people are going to get hurt. So you want to do as much as you can in the offseason when you can just give them money, or usually trades you don't get as you don't have to give up as much in the offseason. Usually the deadline people aren't desperate. So you want to do as much as you can before in the offseason, before the season starts.
Okay. I'm with you there. But I also understand I want my team to save a little money back, right? I want them to be, let's say they're like, okay, we are not going to spend more than $200 million on this team. Well, then spend about 180 in the offseason. Leave yourself about 20 million to do a little bit of finagling and kind of, you said you don't really want to trade, but you're going to have to because of the nature of the 162 long season, right?
Yeah.
So you really should just be adding tweaks and stuff at the trade deadline. You really shouldn't need to go out and add a number 1 starter because you don't have one. You're probably not contending if you don't have that. So really what the trade deadline is a lot of tweaking. I just saw the TV and back thing on it.
So no, it was, some teams just do 1 or 2 things, and some need a lot more. Okay, just leave in the comments. You don't have to text me, my friends. You can comment there.
We have comments for. There's this little button up on the top right. And
I cannot find out who this person is because he wasn't on the Cubs World Series roster. He was left off, so I cannot find out this guy's name.
It's making you crazy, isn't it?
It making me crazy. They had him, they signed him when they weren't so good, traded him. It keeps wanting to tell me who was on. Jason Hamill. There we go. I found him. I finally just did. Jason Hamill was, just a good back end of the rotation guy for the Cubs. And they traded the Athletics when the Athletics were going for it. And then they brought him back the next year. And he was just one of those guys. There were a lot of quality starts for them over the years. So I love when teams do that. Get our guy right back and get someone's prospects.
All right. So, we've talked about that. That's our first question here. We're going to do a second one. I can't wait to talk about this. Let me set this up real fast. So Hunter Wendelstedt missed 20 calls in the Yankees versus Blue Jays game on, I believe it was Saturday. It may have been Sunday, but I think it was Saturday. In one game, ladies and gentlemen, he missed 20 calls, and 9 of them were challenged and overturned. So that's kind of the setup for what we're going to do for the next few moments here. Cheese, you know me. I think you have the same opinion that I do, but now I'm second-guessing myself here a little bit, and I want to have a discussion about this with you, me, and all of our fans here, the Lights Out Sports Podcast.
Okay.
I like the ABS system. I think it's been fantastic for baseball. But is the ABS system being used as a crutch to accept poor umpiring?
Because you can overturn it, so it's okay to miss calls.
So are we just going, it doesn't matter if they miss a bunch of calls. They can overturn them and they'll be just fine.
No, because you only have 2 challenges. I don't, and people usually want to keep one. The managers will tell them, if we have one left, don't use it till like the 7th inning. So I don't think so. I think it's exposed some bad umpires. You mentioned Hunter Wendelstedt.
Mm-hmm.
He is the son of legendary umpire Harry Wendelstedt.
Yes.
So there's some nepotism there. That's what let's be honest. That's how he got his job. He has not been the worst umpire in the game because of CB Buckner and, what was that other guy's name that got fired last year? Why am I blanking?
I can even, West, right?
Oh, no, Joe West, he retired. No, not him. Angel
Hernandez. Angel Hernandez.
Yes. So, but still, Hunter Wendelstedt's never been a good umpire. He's never been one of the better umpires. And because his dad he got the job. So what they need to do, and I've talked about this before, and they won't, but they should. MLB should say, look, whoever is the 3 worst umpires every year, you're fired. You're fired. We'll bring some up AAA that's better. And if you're a good umpire, you should agree to that because you should want better umpire. You should want your profession to look good. So if you do your job, in my opinion, you should want that. And that will make sure the worst umpires every year, don't get to keep their job. Because imagine screwing up at work so much to be able to keep your job. That's ridiculous.
Yes, that's 100% where I'm going to go with this here for a moment. Codify, one of our great accounts that we follow, and all of you guys should too, over on X. And it's just at Codify, Codify. They give us a whole bunch of great stats. And again, as I mentioned earlier, not only am I trying to hiccup over here, and then while I'm doing a podcast, which is awful, but they give me the stats that I love. Let me share some things with you here. The St. Louis Cardinals have won 112 challenges this year. Do you think 112 is kind of high? Like they've been able to beat, so that means the umpires have messed up during Cardinals games 112 times. Do you think that's high, about where it should be? Tell me where you think 112 should be.
Is that about 1 a game, maybe? I mean, I guess 1 a game. I think that'd be okay. I think that's okay. Middle.
Okay, so of every team in the major leagues, 112 cheese is the lowest one. Every other team in Major League Baseball has won more challenges than the St. Louis Cardinals. Everywhere from Pittsburgh being next at 120, the Dodgers are 135. The Mets and the Angels, 2 teams that aren't very good at all and probably don't care if they get strikes or not, 152. Cincinnati, let's do the top 3. The Yankees are number 3 with 173. Cincinnati is number 2. They've won 177 challenges. And believe it or not, Minnesota, the Twins, are number 1 with 188. That's a lot, Cheese.
The umpires don't like the Reds.
Well, maybe not, but that's,
well, we knew that. We knew that before this season.
we did. And all of those teams, Cheese, have catchers that are really good at it. And I think maybe sometimes that upsets the umpires, and they're like, "Oh, he thinks he can do my job better than I can," or something like that. Do you think maybe that plays into this a little bit?
You make a good point. That's the point. Some catchers are really good at this, and sometimes like managers will tell. I don't know what's going on with Ollie Marmol. He's not a very good manager for the Cardinals, but he might tell his team, only this person can do it. Only a veteran can do it in the bat. Only this catcher can do it. He might do something like that. I don't know. Some players just have more leeway to challenge when they want through their manager than others. But yeah, but you're right. Carson Kelly for the Cubs is very good at it too. Much better than Miguel Amaya. Miguel Amaya is not good at it. The other Cubs catcher. And pitchers seem to lose a lot. So pitchers shouldn't even be doing it. So yeah, I think it's an art for a catcher to really know the zone and challenge the right calls.
And it doesn't really mean as much anymore to supposedly steal a strike, right? Because of the ABS system.
It doesn't, as long as you have challenges.
Well, that's true. You know what? That's very true. I didn't think of that.
Because if you're trying to show up an umpire and challenge, and he's pissed. Eventually, if you lose all your challenges, he can do whatever he wants. I mean, he still gets stuff wrong, but he might, get a little vengeance. So I think there are some managers out there that really try to keep one challenge. And I've seen some get irked when someone loses a challenge and they don't have any left.
All right. So, Cheese, last thing here on the umpires. There have only been 4 games this season where 9 or more calls have been overturned in a single game. 9 in a game is crazy, by the way. But of the 4 games, Hunter Wendelstedt has 2 of them. So should he be punished?
Fired. They need to fire some of these older CB Buckner, some of these older guys that aren't very good. They're consistently bad. If you mess up that much, it's not good for the game. There's got to be guys in AAA that are just much better.
And I'm glad you said it that way, because that's kind of where I'm going here. I don't like soccer, but I like this rule in soccer. If you're not a good team, they regulate you down to the lower level, right? They drop you down. And then they bring up the team that was the best in the lower level, and you guys kind of swap spots for a season. That's kind of how I understand it. I mean, I'm not a big soccer guy by any stretch, but I think that's what they should do with these umpires.
So if you win the lowest level, you win the league that year, then you move back up and okay.
I think that's how it works. And then the team with the worst record drops back down to that lower level, kind of like a AAA or something. So I would like to see them do that with the umpires, right? If you suck at the major leagues, then you get dropped down to AAA or AA or something like that.
Or maybe the 3 worst umpires get sent down. The 3 best move up. But here's the problem.
What's that?
The union will say, oh, no, once you've been an umpire for 10 or 15 years, you're immune to that. And then they can do whatever they want. You can have a Hunter Wendelstedt been around forever, CB Buckner, and they can screw up. So all you have to do is get to that seniority, like 10-5, 10-5 rights. Once you're 10 years, you can't be sent down. They'll fight for that. So I don't think they'd ever agree to it. But I like that. Send the worst ones down.
Okay. Let's move on to the Cardinals and Josh Baez here. He had 3 home runs in his first 3 at-bats in his debut the other day. Which was more impressive? That he hit 1 to left, 1 to center, and 1 to right, or that he hit the second longest home run by a Cardinal all season with that very first home run, Cheese? Which one's more impressive?
I think the most impressive thing is that he has not gotten a hit since. No, hitting to all 3 spots in the field is really impressive. First 3, I had the game on. It was pretty incredible to watch. I hated it, but it was pretty incredible. But he's hitting 167. Like I said, he got 3 homer, and ever since then he is 0 for every single at bat ever since. And there's some people questioning even calling him up because he had high strikeout rates in AAA. A lot of power, but he misses the bat so much. But Matthew Boyd decided to just throw the ball down the middle to him 3 times. So whatever.
And I think he also got called up because of the speed. He stole, I believe, 56 bases in, I believe, last year as well. So he's a
54
number 4
last
prospect for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
But I would agree with you that he probably needs some more seasoning down in the minor leagues before you call him up. I think they were just trying to get a spark because they were starting to kind of flatline a little bit. So they wanted a spark, and they got one, but only for a game.
He stole 54 last year, 21 this year, but he struck out 136 times in AAA, which is terrible.
Yes, it's almost forgiven if you hit a bunch of home runs, right? In the modern day baseball, I personally don't like it. I'd rather see a gap-to-gap guy. I mean, the most exciting play in baseball is when Corbin Carroll hits a ball into the corner and he runs all the way to third base. I mean, that's go Corbin, go. I mean, that's the most exciting play in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, he has 34 homers in the minors, 37 now if you count both. No doubt about it. But at the same time, guys like that, I don't trust him in the postseason because it's harder to hit home runs. You're facing the best pitchers. I want a guy that's going to put the ball in play. Because you're going to have to manufacture some runs in the postseason. I want a guy at least can get some blue pits, like you said, Corbin Carroll types, guys that you just, not going to swing and miss so much. It's just not as consistent. So overall, the numbers look great. It's great for fantasy baseball, but
Right.
I don't want guys striking out a lot in the postseason.
So I do want to give the Cardinals a little love here for a moment. It's hard for me to do, and I'm sure it's hard for you to do too, because both of us, our teams are in that same division. Mine with I love my Reds, and you love your Chicago Cubs. So, but I do want to help them and give them what they've got coming here. Burleson and Walker are the only two teammates, Cheese, with 85 plus RBI each in the majors, and Burleson leads the league in doubles with 31. So I'm going to ask you, do you believe in the Cardinals' offense this season?
I mean, it's decent. I think it's probably middle of the pack. They don't have like one of those. Yeah, they have some studs. Weatherholt's very good too, but overall, I don't think it's like a great line. I think it's just okay.
Okay. So Burleson is under team control for 2 more seasons, Walker for 3 more. Plus, they had the youngest opening day roster according to Baseball America. And you just mentioned J.J. Weatherholt as well. So are the Cardinals in a good spot to be good for a few years in an already stacked National League Central?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they'll. I mean, they're better than expected this year because they trade away a lot of veterans, and their farm system is very good. It's probably, I don't know if it's top 5, but if it's not, it's close. So their farm system's gotten way better the last couple of years. So I do expect them to be good. I don't know next year, but definitely like 2028 going forward, I expect them to be very good with that farm system.
Okay. So that's all on the Cardinals. I don't want to give them too much love, but I'll give them a little bit. So I want to ask about this, and let's monitor this developing story. Here we go. I live here in Arizona. I've got a little bit of insight, so I'm probably going to do some things here and say some things. We'll just do it and see what happens here.
Real quick, I'm just glad you brought this up because I do not know much about this at all, and I figured you would.
Yes. So they put Ketel Marte on the restricted list. As you know, over the weekend, they were in Atlanta, and then they flew from Atlanta to Boston. Ketel Marte did get on the plane. They know that. It's been confirmed. Ketel Marte was at the hotel yesterday. He was seen at the bar drinking with a bunch of people. And I'll just leave that alone and let it just sit there and simmer, right? Mm-hmm. He did not show up for batting practice yesterday like all his other teammates did. He did not come to the game yesterday. He just no-call, we call it at my work a no-call, no-show, right? You didn't call me and tell me that you're sick, and you didn't show up. That's what he did. He didn't call anybody and said, hey, this is what's going on with me. I'm not going to be there. He just literally didn't show up yesterday. The Arizona Diamondbacks waited and waited and waited to release the lineup right up until the very moment when they had that release the lineup by Major League Baseball rules. So they were hoping that he was going to show up. So they're upset right now, and they should be. And if you remember last year, he did something similar at the All-Star break where he went back home to the Dominican Republic, and the excuse, and I wasn't sure if it was an excuse then, but I'm going to call it an excuse now. The excuse that he used was that his home in Arizona was burglarized, so he went to the Dominican Republic.
I remember that. Yes.
Yes, that was.
We talked about it. Yeah, we talked about
it. We
did
talk about it. That was crazy when it happened, but I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not really willing to give him the benefit of the doubt now, especially not with what came out today. So for those of you who may not know, again, I know that you watched the game, so I'm sure you saw it. Nolan Arenado injured his midsection, his torso on Sunday during the game. He came out of the game early. Then he went to, when they traveled to Boston, he got an MRI in Boston. And he basically wants to play through the injury. He did not want to go on the IL because the Arizona Diamondbacks are right in the thick of things as far as the National League wildcard playoffs go. He's going to take a few days off. He's going to tough it out. I got all the respect in the world for the man, and he's going to try to play probably after the Boston series. So that's one guy who's trying to do his best. And then you got this guy on the screen who it came out today. He says, I am not playing because my knee is in pain. So did he get an MRI in Boston like what Nolan Arenado did? No. He told the team, again, this is what I'm hearing, right? He told the team that he was going to fly back to Arizona and get an MRI there. I don't understand this whatsoever, Cheese. There's a little bit more that I'll add to it in a moment, but just at this point, what do you think about this situation? Ketel Marte and the Arizona Diamondbacks, and I'll put some more fuel on the fire here in a moment.
Well, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I read that he was going to DH because of the knee. Is that true? Okay.
Yes,
okay.
They were going to let him DH, so it's not like he had to play the field.
Yeah. So there was some knee. This isn't like a phantom. This is a guy that's just comes off very selfish. It's all about him. I don't know. Maybe he's going through something mentally, but this is like another incident like this. It's hard to feel bad for him anymore. It's just like you don't go, I'm going to go back to Arizona and get MRI myself. The team does it. The team doctor looks at it.
They decide where you get the MRI.
They decide.
Yes.
And before you tell me more, I'll just say this, like Nolan Arenado, from what I know about him, and Ketel Marte could not be more opposite. Nolan Arenado, like you said, wanted to play for injury. He's always been a guy who works on his fielding, been a good teammate. He's been a leader. Pretty much the opposite of what Ketel Marte has been right now. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad you brought up Nolan Arenado, who's been a class act his whole career.
Yesterday, Cheese, they put, and that's why I put this graphic up here, they put Ketel Marte on the restricted list. And for those people who aren't big baseball people, there's a huge difference in the restricted list and putting him on the IL. When you get put on the IL, you can decide 10 days, 15 days, 30, 60 days, whatever that is. And you get paid while you're on the injured list. When you are put on the restricted list, you do not get paid. The Arizona Diamondbacks made a choice, even though they knew that his knee was bothering him, to put him on the restricted list. He went back to Arizona today. And I was waiting for them to go, okay, we're going to put him on the IL now. Yes, he's really, his knee really is bothering him. There's a contusion. That's the word they love to use when they're not real sure what's wrong with it. But, they want to give him an excuse to go on the IL, and they did not. He is right now still on the restricted list, which I'm going to read into it and say that the Arizona Diamondbacks are not real happy with Ketel Marte right at the moment. And this is kind of the punishment. This is, they're upset with him, and this is how they're going about doing it. Oh, look at this.
If Ketel Marte they wouldn't put up with this if he wasn't such a good player, and he's a very talented player. He's been a very good player for the Diamondbacks. And maybe that's why he thinks he can get away with this. But yeah, it's telling. If they put him on the restricted list, then they don't think he needs to go on the IL. He was going to DH, which means if you can DH, you don't have to go on the IL. It just sounds like there's either he's just a selfish jerk. I mean, they're right there, in the postseason race. Maybe he got upset. Maybe he's a diva, and maybe he just, wanted to rest his knee. And they're like, no, you can DH. I don't know. There's got to be something. But he's being a baby. He's being selfish. He's not handling this well. This is not how you handle it. And Diamondbacks, I'm sure, are saying one thing and thinking another in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
But good for them, putting him on the restricted list. But like you said, they would not have done this if he wasn't at fault. They wouldn't just put him on there unless they thought he was, the one doing this, the one at fault here.
And here's my last thing. I don't know if you saw the press conference after the game yesterday. Poor Torey Lovullo was just mobbed. Where's Ketel Marte? What's going on with Ketel? What can you tell us about Ketel? And he at one point looked like he was about to break down. I have the video over on our X at All Gloves Off SM on our X account. You can go over and see it. I mean, Torey Lovullo looks like he's about to bust out crying. Now, today he was asked a lot of the same things, and he was angry today. Today, he did not look like he was about to cry. He said, I've not had any communication with him. And when they asked, so you've not had any communication with him? Did that, they said something to the effect of, did that surprise you? And he said, very much so. And he looked angry when he was looking into the camera. So I think Torey Lovullo is a guy who's going to always take up for his players. But I also think that Ketel was pushing this envelope. And Torey feels a little disrespected right now. So my next question to you is how we'll end this, Cheese. How can Ketel Marte come back into this locker room after what he did last year and what he's doing so far this year, unless there's some other, maybe he's going through something with his family, or there's something else on the side that we don't know about?
Because he's good, I guess he can. But I mean, a lot of people aren't going to respect him. They're going to resent him. They're going to think he's just a bad teammate. I'm sure a lot of them already think that. But this is just, at this time, right in the middle of the playoff race. I think they just missed the playoffs. Its season ended today.
Yes.
This is horrible, horrible timing. And it just seems like it's very selfish. Like I said, there might be more to this, but we talked about this before this trade deadline. Should they shop him? I know, but we talked about, should they go ahead and shop him? Even though, maybe they should have. Maybe remember, they did, and they couldn't get
somebody on this panel. Somebody who's on this screen right now said yes. Trade him to the Tampa Bay Rays. Do it. And most people were just killing me for it. But
yeah, and I said at the time, if they get a lot for him, but I don't know if anyone really wanted to take him and his contract on with the.
The contract's nothing.
His contract's nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's such a shame, and it's the best, and it's a shame because he's such a good player. It just sounds completely unnecessary how he's handled it. It's just terrible.
All right, so I want to put this up here: the Hit Machine. You got sports cards and collectibles. He's now doing branding kits and designs as well. He'll develop a unique brand identity for you, custom logos, templates, banners, and more, and develop a comprehensive brand strategy, as you can see there on the screen. And you can go to Hit Machine HQ on X and look him up, send him a direct message, ask him about doing some things for you. We are doing some things with him right now. You will see our logo be kind of redefined. I don't want to say changed, but we're going to do some different stuff. You'll see a lot of things coming up here in the next few weeks that we are doing with the Hit Machine. And I would ask that if you have those same needs, you would give him a shot as well. In fact, he's going to sponsor the Lights Out stat of the show. The stat of the show is from Keegan Matheson, the Blue Jays reporter for MLB.com. Yesterday, Cheese, and this is not a misprint, yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of the last time Vladimir Guerrero hit a regular season home run at the Rogers Center. It's not a misprint. That's the facts. He has not hit a home run at the Rogers Center after that huge 14-year contract in now over a year.
I think he's got like 6 or 7 home runs this year. I don't. They paid him, and he just. I don't know. I don't know if there's something with his swing. Is got some injury. I don't know, but he's just not even close to what he was, and it's sad because at one point he was one of the best young bats in the game. I just his power is just gone.
Now, I did watch MLB Now today. Joey Votto was on there, one of my guys. I love Joey. I have all kinds of autographed stuff in one room in my house that is nothing but Joey Votto. He said and brought up, okay, so kind of like the same thing. I've heard Alex Rodriguez say it. I heard Pete Rose say it before. I've actually heard Joey Votto say it before. Joey Votto got a 12-year contract and then said, you would not believe the pressure that it puts on you to perform every day because you are the guy. You've got that large contract. And now Vladdy has this large contract and he's not performing well. I wonder, Cheese, do you think that might have something to do with his lack of production this season?
Oh, it's very possible. That's it. It happened to Austin Riley, who's been terrible this year for the Braves. It was like the one Brave they decided to give like a 10-year deal to, right? Mm-hmm. Most of them were 6 or 7 years. And they okay, Austin Riley, he was like an MVP candidate that year, faded a little, but they're like, okay, that's the one, proved his defense. We're going to give him a 10-year deal. And he's been the one that has not lived up to expectations at all. In fact, he probably should be benched. That's how bad he's been. So yeah, I think that's definitely possible. I mean, but other players, have performed under those. But that could be part of it.
Yeah, I won't really necessarily talk about this unless you really want to, Cheese, but I believe you sent this over to me. This is a list of the last player to hit a home run in the playoffs for their team. I
sent it to you because I didn't. So. Well, just real quick, I just sent it to you because I didn't know Shin-Soo Choo ever played for the Reds.
Yes,
I had no idea. So that's what I sent to you. I was like, what? What do you think about this list? And there's someone on there twice. Trevor Story, I believe, is on there twice.
Yes. So. Well, I mean, so let's look at it this way, right? That Trevor Story is on there twice. He's for the Rockies and I believe for the Red Sox as well. Yes, Rockies, Red Sox. So let's think about that. That means the Rockies haven't been to the playoffs in a long time because the last time they were there, Trevor Story hit the home run in 2017.
Yeah, and they're not going to make it anytime soon. But yeah, I mean the Pirates and Reds. Well, no, the Pirates have made it since then. They just haven't homered. Is that the last time the Reds made it?
2013. No, they've made it one other time, I believe, but they were eliminated right away by the Dodgers 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay. No, they made it last year. Duh.
They did make it last year. Gosh,
they did. Yeah, they got eliminated pretty. Yeah, you're right. They got eliminated pretty quick. But yeah, the Reds made it last year. Duh.
I mean, Seiya Suzuki for your Cubs. And there's some names on here.
The Angels has the longest playoff drought actually in baseball. I think it is actually the Angels who has it.
Yeah, there are some, and there are also some names on here.
Like Howie Kendrick.
Right? I was looking. Pedro Alvarez. I mean,
Pedro Alvarez of the Pirates. Yeah.
Right?
Darren Ruff.
Darren Ruff. That's the other guy. Yeah. I mean, some people you're like, really? Really? That guy?
I haven't heard that name in 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, but that's the truth. That's the one, buddy. So Yeah. All right. So we, sir, are going to get to Cheese's favorite part of the program because it is time for him to jump into his spot here. That is our NFL 4 down territory. And before we start that, we got to start the music and give us a new graphic in the background, Cheese. So here we go. All right, buddy, give us a preview. What can the fans expect over the next few moments when we talk about the NFL?
Well, we're going to talk about rookie quarterbacks, how they performed in week 1 of the preseason. And we're going to talk about injuries, and there's a lot in the preseason. We'll, specifically talk about Arizona Cardinals as an example.
Okay. So where do you want to start, buddy? Let's do the first question here in our NFL 4-down territory.
So I saw a post on X, almost said tweet, but I guess it's called post on X. And Adam Schefter posted it, and he was talking in an interview how well rookie quarterbacks played in week 1. And he used the following names: Drew Aller, Steelers; Carson Beck, Cardinals; Ty Simpson, Rams; Fernando Mendoza, Raiders; Haynes King, Panthers; Cade Klubnik, Jets; Jalen Daniels, Buccaneers; and Garrett Nussmeier for the Chiefs. That one's not surprising. He should have been drafted way higher, but they all looked good to great. They all looked at least good, and some of them looked amazing, like Carson Beck looked amazing. So my first question for you is, what do you make of this?
Well, I think we need to pump the brakes, Cheese. I really do.
Okay. Okay. This is why I want to talk about this. Yes. Like this is the next big thing. Okay.
Right. No. Let's pump the brakes here for a moment, buddy. You and I did a watch along on that Hall of Fame game where two of those quarterbacks that you just mentioned played. Carson Beck for the Arizona Cardinals and then King for the Carolina Panthers.
Yes.
Let's start with King for a moment because I think he is the best example of what I'm going to talk to you about. They ran the same play over and over and over again. They ran that sweep over and over and over again because it kept working. And the Arizona Cardinals just couldn't stop it. So I agree with them. Hey, if you can't stop it, let's just do it over and over and over again until you prove to me that you can stop it. I don't have a problem with it, but I also don't want to praise a guy who was behind center and they kept calling the same play. I'm sure a couple times he looked over in the sidelines and was like, am I hearing that wrong? Same play again? Really? But, okay, so he ran a few plays really efficiently. He looked good, but you and I both know it was the same play over and over and over again.
And players wide open over and over again against Arizona's defense. I mean, you're going to run a lot of basic defense. You're going to drop a lot in the preseason. You're not going to show a lot, but still, no, that's a good point. I think like Haynes King, for example, played the second half, right?
Mm-hmm.
Almost nobody on that field for Arizona is going to start. No one's going to start, and probably 3 or 4 of those guys are going to make the team, and a lot of those guys are going to play special teams only. So it's not like you're only as practice squad guys. So I'll say that. But is the fact that most of these quarterbacks, they're staying in college longer because of NIL, do you think it helps them with their transition to the NFL?
Well, I think it did help Carson Beck quite a bit. And that's what they keep pointing to. Carson has he was in, I think he was in college for like 12 years or something like that. I mean, he just kept going to different spots and he kept getting this experience. Now, I want a guy with experience. Don't get me wrong. If I got to pick a guy who's only been there, maybe a junior and he's coming out and I'm like, oh, this guy's going to be the next big thing. Or if I've got a guy who is a 5th-year senior, I guess is what they call it. So he's been in the league for 5 years instead of 3. Yeah, I want the 5-year guy. Don't get me wrong.
You want experience. I
want experience.
Like the Bo Nix, 60 starts. That's what you would want ideally. You don't want Anthony Richardson, who made, 12 starts in his career at Florida. He's been a disaster.
He's supposed to be the next big thing?
Yes. Top 5 pick. He went 4th overall. Bo Nix went 12. Yeah, and we've seen the difference in their careers.
Absolutely. But, if I have to pick between one of those two guys, I will take the guy with the experience every single time.
Okay. So I was going to ask this, are we? But I'm going to say, is Adam Schefter and the media overreacting at all because it is the preseason, because they don't face necessarily a lot of starters when they're playing?
It's not necessarily – I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. It's
not necessarily that he's overreacting in that way. The NFL needs something to talk about right now. It's preseason.
Yeah.
So people are getting excited about it. And most of these teams, the Steelers, right? They're going to have to find another quarterback next year because we all know Rodgers is done after this season. Yes. The Arizona Cardinals are not a very good team and they need a quarterback, right? The Carolina Panthers are kind of in the same boat because we don't know what Bryce is going to give us from one game to the next game. So I think a lot of these guys that we are talking about here are on teams that aren't very good, And it's not necessarily that they're overreacting. They're just trying to give these teams' fan bases hope.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. It's something to talk about, and so let's try to hype up these quarterbacks. We know the insiders, Adam Schefter, they hype up players all the time.
Yeah.
I still remember Ian Rappaport. He didn't even say anything in the tweet. He just showed a video of Caleb Williams throwing a touchdown pass in the preseason last year, right? It was a quick slant. It was a throw just about every quarterback in the NFL can make, maybe not Shedeur Sanders. And Lamine Zaccheaus, the receiver who was with the Bears at the time, made a great route, and he caught it and did all the work himself. It was a great route, and then he's got the speed, and he ran for a long touchdown. And then, but Ian Rappaport, it seemed like Caleb Williams, look, he's amazing. And it's like, what are you trying to do here? Like, we know that that was just an easy throw. So
this is a very good point by John, too, if you want to talk about this for a second.
Well, yes and no. I mean, not when they play like UT San Antonio, not when they play McNeese State, but in the college football playoff, yeah, I mean, you're facing probably similar. You know, you might face a couple guys in college a little more talented, but you're still in the preseason. It's not like you're playing like, you know, McNeese State or anything. You're still playing guys that got on an NFL roster.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't necessarily say that.
But I don't think any of these guys came from a situation where it was a complex defense, right? I mean, it was a bare bones with a few razzle dazzle kind of plays to it, and that's how they did it.
I think a lot of these quarterbacks. I haven't watched every snap of all of these. I need to go back and watch some more, at least highlights.
You're slacking, buddy. You're slacking.
Well, no, I didn't watch the Tampa Bay game, so I didn't watch Jalen Daniels. I've heard a lot of good things about him in camp. I haven't watched Cade Klubnik yet either. But what I think Adam Schefter meant is a lot of these guys look real comfortable. They look real comfortable. They look like they could maybe be backups this year. They look like they can run an offense, which we have not always seen from rookie quarterbacks. I still remember Josh Dobbs, his first game with the Steelers. What a disaster. Like after he was drafted out of Tennessee, holy crap, he did not know what to do at all. Coming from the style offense that he played in, it was bad. But I think that's what he meant. And I just want to talk about a couple of the quarterbacks real quick.
I mean, so before you get into that, I do want to say Adam Schefter didn't say, you know, these are going to be the next big guys, or, you know, they're all going to be all-stars, or they're all going to be all-pros. He said they looked like they belonged. And so in their spots, I think everybody that we're talking about, nobody's going to start week one. So where they belong, maybe one. We'll see. So where they belong is basically, okay, I missed that one for a second. I get what you're saying now. You know, they belong in the backup role. So did they look good enough to be a backup in the NFL? Yes. Or did they look good enough to be the starter in the NFL? Let's pump the brakes on that one. But they at least look good enough to make the 53-man roster.
Playing good is better than not playing good in the preseason. We'll say that. So it's good that, you know, it's better if they're playing bad against backups. That's bad. So at least they're playing good. But they're not going to face a lot of blitz or anything complex at all at this point. You're just not in the preseason. You're not going to show a lot at people. So, but like I said, it's a good thing that they played well. So I watched Drew Aller. He was playing the Packers. I watched all his snaps. It was the second half. There were guys on that team that are just terrible. They're not maybe not even a practice squad. It's like there were so many defensive breakdowns in the game. Nothing against Drew Aller. I thought he did well. He did better than I expected, but there were missed tackles. The Packers defense was an absolute mess in the second half. It was very soft coverage. Clearly, Jonathan Gannon dropped back, you know, played zone, you know, give you the underneath stuff, and Drew Aller took it. So I think we could, you know, maybe say that maybe he didn't look as good. But one more person I have to talk about is I watched every snap Ty Simpson took. And I was looking forward to him more than anyone because I trashed that pick. Rams fans are still mad at me, a lot of them. Trashed it. I thought it was terrible. 13th overall. His stats look great. Ian Rappaport's hyping him up, of course. That's what he does. He looked efficient. He looked comfortable. But I think all but 4 or 5 throws, he threw 25 passes, were under 7 yards. Most of them were dink and dunks. A lot of them were off play actions, easy throws wide open that Mike Ballantyne could make. Not an exaggeration. There were maybe a little bit later on in the game, he made a couple in a row that were maybe 10 yards downfield. One of them was like 15, 16, but there was probably one that was more than 15 yards downfield. And what was a good throw? It was a tight window. Guy caught it, but most of his throws were super easy. The script was just to get his confidence going. Lots of dink and dunks. So I haven't watched every snap, like I said, all these guys, but you can't watch that and think, oh, Ty Simpson. Yeah, they justified that 13th over a pick because of all those checkdowns. You just can't.
But I will have to say, Cheese, when we did the watch along at the Hall of Fame game, we saw Carson Beck throw a bomb, and it's a pretty good throw, right? We saw him throw over the middle, pretty good throw. And you didn't see him do it over and over and over again. That would be kind of stupid, right? So if I'm the coach and I see him make a really good throw downfield, I'm going to look at my offensive coordinator and say, okay, that's the only one we're doing. He's going to feel really good about himself. We made a really good completion. Everybody's going to talk about it tomorrow. Do not do another big time throw, because if he misses it, then the hype just starts falling, right? So let's not do that. I think that's how you set these guys up for success, right? And, you're talking about dinks and dunks and stuff like that, but I want to see a little more than that. But I'm not expecting to see him throw 250 or 300 yards in a preseason game, right?
It's happened before, but yeah. And we talked about this. We wanted them to open up. It was pretty conservative early on, and they did. They opened it up. And the thing with Carson Beck, why I said he played amazing, was his ball placement was terrific. He did, a lot of them were short throws, of course, but even on some of his medium routes and deep routes, the ball placement was outstanding. And so his stats were justified, more so than a Ty Simpson, because he threw it down the field more. And you got to give Mike LaFleur credit for doing that. And I wish, Sean McVay had done that. I wanted to see Ty Simpson make those throws, but it's like he protected him. It's just kind of a shame, but I guess, it's a confidence thing. They don't want you to throw 2 picks and lose your confidence. And, we've seen quarterbacks early on struggle, and then they never recover.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, let's stick with the preseason.
All right.
So there's been so many injuries, at least that I've noticed, but the Arizona Cardinals, they used their first and second round picks, as you know, on running back Jeremiah Love and then guard Chase Besantis. Besantis tore his MCL and is out for the season. Love suffered a high ankle sprain, which could cost him some regular season games. Both players were expected to play a huge role from the get-go for this team. So my question for you, should the Cardinals have – I lost my screen. There we go. Should the Cardinals have held them out of the preseason because they're so important to the team this year, or do rookies need reps in the preseason?
Just a really good question, because I see both sides of it. But, I thought about this for a little bit today. I still would lean more toward rookies need reps. What happened, Carson Beck is now injured because of that Hall of Fame game. He hurt his ribs in that game. Their 4th round pick is also injured, and I believe out for the season as well. So, they're all 4 of their picks.
That was a good pick too, yeah. The defensive tackle from oh God, his name. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so their first 4 picks right now are not on the field. Love has a high ankle sprain. Probably not something that's going to keep him out week 1, but they're definitely not going to play him anymore in preseason.
It's a tricky injury. It's a tricky injury. I've had one before. That's one of those that could be 3 weeks, but it could be 7 or 8. It's a tricky injury. It's I've had one before. It sucks.
Okay, I'll trust you. I've never had a high ankle sprain, so I'll just have to trust you. But they still need reps. You can't just throw them to the wolves. And they can't get that in practice. So you just have to take a chance and cross your fingers and what is also the likelihood, Cheese, that they lose all 4 picks. That's just as unlikely as it is for none of them to get hurt. So bad luck, bad timing, whatever you want to say, but let's face it, buddy. The Cardinals weren't doing anything this year anyway, not being in that division. So it's not a huge deal, I don't think.
Caleb Proctor, Southeast Louisiana defensive tackle. I love that pick. He's got a ton of upside. Mm-hmm. And Reggie Virgil, 5th round. He played well in the game. God, they had a good draft. But anyway.
Now Monty, 4 of them are not going to play anymore.
Yeah, finally, Monty. Yeah. Well, look, Walter Nolan and Will Johnson were hurt last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the best luck with injuries. Well, I'll say this: high ankle sprain. When I did it, I was in my 20s. I was on crutches for 2 weeks, and I wasn't. I was playing intramural football at the time. I wasn't able to play for 4 weeks, and I had to put like kind of like a cast on it, and like some kind of I forget, like a
Like a
splint
soft cast or something.
soft cast, like just to protect it. Because
Mhm.
because I was playing quarterback, so I didn't have to run as much. But at the same time, if I planted, I had to put something there. So, but yeah, I was probably if I played in the NFL, I might have been out longer. But I was just tired of not playing. So it's not an easy.
I'm learning stuff here. Cheese was a quarterback and intramural.
And
Okay.
I played quarterback and safety and in college in real football. Um, I was the deep safety and the quarterback. Uh, but I've had if you have a regular sprained ankle, 2 weeks, I'm back running full speed, no
Mhm.
problem, right? It's not that big a deal. But high ankle sprain could linger. But yeah, so I'm a little more on the other side. You have to protect your best players, even if they're young. I don't care if I piss the fans off. You're going to see a lot of practice squad guys in the game. I would have held Jeremiah Love out, maybe played him 10 snaps the whole preseason, maybe the last game, just something like that. I would have probably held him out. And Case Basanas, I guess I probably wouldn't have held him out, but he played almost the entire game in the Hall of Fame. I definitely would not have done that. So, and you mentioned Carson Beck. He also got hurt, So would you play, say the rib injuries is better? Would you play him at all in the last two preseason games, or would you make sure he stays healthy? Because you might need him later in the year. You might have to see what you have in him.
Well, they've got Jacoby Brissett. They've got Gardner Minshew.
Right.
So, Beck is probably going to be your third guy on the depth chart.
At first, at least at first.
At least at first. And I don't know. I haven't seen anything else from the Arizona Cardinals since that game that we did. So I don't know. I guess Gardner didn't look very good. I don't know if you saw the game at all, or so.
It wasn't great.
No, Beck might end up being number 2, or wherever that falls. So probably not, to be very honest with you. I think a quarterback can get a lot of stuff done in practice just because he's not going to get hit. He's still going to see the routes. He's still going to be able to identify defenses. He's still going to be able to do a lot of those different things that you need to do. And I think a quarterback is a different beast. He's not a lineman. He's not a cornerback or something like that. I think there's a real likelihood that people go after him in the preseason too. I mean, those edge rushers and stuff are like, oh, wait till you see this. I'm going to knock that Beck guy's helmet off. And, that would not be happening in other spots on the football field.
Yeah, 2 quick things. One, normally I'd say you play your young quarterback as many reps as possible. But I think it's really important. You have to know for the Cardinals whether you think he can be the franchise quarterback. So if he comes out in the preseason and tears his ACL, like JJ McCarthy, that really hurt Minnesota, that he got hurt and they didn't get to see him. They didn't know what they had in him. And turns out they probably don't have their guy.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets hurt, and you need to go, like I said, the Cardinals aren't going to be good. They need to go to him at some point, and he needs to play against legit starting defenses, not the preseason. You need to see if he can be the guy. And so to do that, he's got to be healthy later in the year. And the second thing is maybe he wins the number 2 job. Maybe some team has their backup get hurt. Maybe Tyrod Taylor gets hurt for Green Bay, and maybe they try to trade for Gardner Minshew. So he might be the backup. He might win it, or he might get it just because they move on from Minshew, either trade or maybe they just decide to release him. So it's possible he is the number 2 quarterback. But yeah, they're going to start Brissett at first for sure. Okay. Does it matter at all? We already kind of mentioned this. Do you think it's different with, say, because they're the Cardinals, because they're not expected to contend as far as like other teams? So Cardinals, maybe because they're young, retooling, they're more likely to play their young players than, say, like a Rams or an Eagles?
Yes, I think you're 100% right here. You're spot on, buddy. When you have a team that is not expected to do well, we talked about Alabama, right? Alabama fell to 13th in that AP poll. So are we going to have as much expectations on them this year? I think as casual fans know, like we've already talked about, and I think the Cardinal fans here are like, yeah, just play him. Let's see what we got. Let's see, can Beck do it? You mentioned it earlier. Can Beck do it? I think they'd be okay if they didn't even start Jacoby Brissett. If they went out with Carson Beck from week 1 and they sold it the right way, and they're saying, okay, we're going to go ahead and start Carson Beck. We're going to see if he can be the guy. We're going to start him now, and if he's terrible, then we've got Jacoby Brissett over here, and we can bring him back in, and we can try to win some games at the end. I would almost sell it that way than anything else.
The worst thing you can do is bring him in at the end and win some extra games and hurt your draft stock. So I do it the other way. I put Brissett out there. And at some point, though, if they start like 1-5 and you have like week 7, week 8, and you're facing a bad defense, maybe you're at home, put him out there. But that's when you go to Beck and then see if he can do it. And if he, like I said, if he is the guy, if he has overcome his fourth quarter weaknesses in college, if he's gotten more mature, if his arm is fully healed, he's got the arm strength back, all those. If you think he's the guy, then oh my gosh, you can draft Jeremiah Smith. You can get Jeremiah Smith. You pick in the top 3. So don't win games. You found your quarterback, and you get one of the best receivers like I've ever seen in college football. Let's see.
Yeah.
So
he's talking about preseason, So he's asking us week 2 where they play the starters for a half and then they shut them down in week 3. Is that typically how it works, Cheese?
Yes, the middle game. It used to be the third game when there were 4 preseason games, the second to last one. But now they don't even usually do a half. Some teams might, but yeah, that's when you're supposed to put your starters out there is the second to last game and try to get some chemistry going. So yes, that's it. Last question. Have you ever seen a preseason with more injuries? Because I have not.
There are a ton. We just talked about the Cardinals losing their first 4 draft picks, and I'm sure you're wondering why. Why are there so many injuries? And I'm going to give you maybe a crazy reason why, but I think there could be some validity to it here. So, NIL guys, these guys have already made their money now. A lot of these guys coming in the NFL have made a ton of money through NIL, and they have been able to do things in college that they weren't usually able to do. Maybe they had their own chef. Maybe they were able to get on a really good supplement program. You're laughing a little, but I think maybe this has some validity to it, right? They've got the extra money. When I don't know about you, but I've never had that extra kind of money, right? I see these guys, like I saw a video on Derrick Henry and all the crazy stuff that he does where he doesn't eat this and he's got all these people around him and they were showing him in the gym and he had like 6 people surrounding him and no, you should do it this way and no, this looks bad and make sure you change this. And, he's got all these people that he can afford to surround himself with. In college, you can't afford to do that, but maybe now you can. And now they know they're coming into the NFL and there is more and more and more expected of them. So they're just trying harder and harder and harder. And you and I both know we've got bigger guys who are faster. We've got fast guys who are bigger, and the human body is just not when we saw some of those combine times that we did and you're 250, 270 pounds and you're flying down, the 40-yard dash like that, man, our bodies just aren't built to do that. So I think because they're getting more money faster, maybe they're almost ruining their bodies, at least partially, before they even get to the NFL.
Don't forget one other possibility. The electric substation adjacent to the 49ers practice field that gets blamed for injuries, the electromagnetic fields apparently weakens player tissues. And that's causing all these injuries for the 49ers. The whole defense got hurt last year. The whole defense, all their good players. So electric substations, electromagnetic fields also are causing this. So there you go. But I've never seen injuries like this to so many players this early. Like we still had 2 preseason games to go. And Jordan Tyson was doing so good. He was healthy. He was having a great camp. Hamstring yet again.
We were worried about that, or at least I was worried about that.
He is such a good player if he stays healthy. He'll be great in his career, but I don't know if he ever will. We'll see.
All right. Well, hopefully he does, and we don't have to, talk about this anymore.
I hope for the Saints he does, because they don't have much. All they have is Chris Olave. They don't have much else. I was just talking.
Yeah, we were just talking about it. You were. I don't believe in some of that stuff, but I will ask you this though, Cheese. Do you think maybe it's the athletic trainers and that athletic department, or I'll give you a little bit of an example. I don't want to take up a ton of time because we're approaching the 2-hour mark here. But like Hunter Green said in baseball, my Cincinnati Reds, Hunter Green said, "Hey, I know my body better than anybody. This is what I want to do. This is how I can recover faster," and yada, yada, yada. Well, he came back. He pitched, I believe, 4 games, then blew the elbow out again. Now he just had his second.
Devastating.
Yeah, it's devastating for the team.
I do want to talk to you about that another time. That's a whole story about pitchers.
Yeah, but that's 2.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if some of these players are thinking that they know their body better than some of the trainers and stuff do, because I've had this NIL money, I've done all the research, I was able to do this and I was able to do that, and maybe that has something to do with it.
It's possible, and everyone has different trainer. I know the Packers. I don't know this is why, but they had a horrible injury situation a few years back, and they eventually just fired that trainer and brought someone else in. And it's gotten better. I don't know if it was that he was to blame. He was very popular. A lot of people were upset that he got fired. So it's possible, like the way teams are, but I think just like you said, they're bigger, faster, run harder. It's just now baseball pitching. That's a complete other story. I do want to talk to you about that, but that's a long topic for another day. And people like Cade Horton, Hunter Green, are 2 examples, but I don't think I've ever seen players get hurt in practice and just already hurt when the camp starts. It's just whoever wins the Super Bowl is good. Like if you look at the Seahawks, look at the Eagles the year before. By the postseason, they were pretty much all healthy. Almost every starter was available. They won the Super Bowl. That's who's going to win. Whoever has the best health. We saw, the 49ers, their whole defense got hurt. They got in the postseason, got killed. Like they had nothing left. So, you got to stay healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, buddy. Do you have anything else that we're going to do with the football stuff right at the moment?
Do you want me to do a little trivia question for you?
Sure, because I didn't come up with a trivia question. So, you know what? Let me do this. Let me throw this up here real fast.
I'm going to start doing baseball trivia. We'll take turns. You do a football because you can probably do better at baseball trivia than me. So, but actually, this is a football one. This is actually a football. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, buddy. But let's say real quick that this trivia question is brought to you by All Gloves Off Sports Media's not YouTube, their new TikTok spot. We actually have more followers on our TikTok than we have on YouTube right at the moment. It has taken off, and I really greatly appreciate you guys for coming out and supporting us. You can scan this code right here. It will take you right to at All Gloves Off on our TikTok that I'm running. And, but give me a little bit because I'm just learning, right? I'm the old man trying to learn all this new technology. So go ahead with your trivia question, sir.
So in the last 5 seasons in the NFL, only 3 teams have had a winning record in all 5 seasons. Can you name those 3 franchises?
Ooh, so 5 years.
Winning record
in 5 years.
5 straight years.
5 straight years, even more.
The last 5 years, only 3. Okay, last 5 years in the NFL, only 3 teams have had a winning record every single year for 5 straight years.
And John, I see your comment. I'll throw it up here in just a moment when we're done with the trivia question here. I'm going to go Philadelphia.
That is correct. Yes.
I'm gonna go. I know you knock on them all the time because they're 7th seed and they barely make it into the playoffs, but I think they've got a winning record, so I'm gonna go with your Green Bay Packers.
No, 4 years ago they went like 8-9. Rodgers got hurt, so no, it's actually not Green Bay. 4 of the last 5, yes, but no, it's actually not Green Bay.
Okay, well at least I didn't get some team that's got I didn't pick the Jets or something. So how about
Jets have had 0?
How about the Rams?
Rams actually no, they have not. They have not had a winning record for 5 straight years, believe it or not.
Okay, well I know another team that the same thing about what I'm saying about your Packers. They're always the bridesmaid, never the bride, but they're always right there. So the Steelers have got to be on
Yes.
that list.
Yes, the Pittsburgh
Okay.
Steelers. Yes, that is correct. Yep, the 7 seeds, the Steelers and Packers. They love that seed.
Yep. So I'm trying to think here. Who else am I? How about Buffalo?
Yeah, Buffalo is the third one. Good job. Yes, Buffalo is the third one. Yep. And yeah, the Ravens and Chiefs would have been the answer, but they both had losing records last year. So that made it only 3 teams.
Okay.
Oh, the substation thing is just fun to mess with. So yeah,
Right.
And John is from California, probably not far from San Francisco, not too far, but he's a Cowboy fan. He hates the Niners, so he likes to give the Niners fans crap.
Of course. And why wouldn't you, right? Right? Why wouldn't you? All right, buddy. So,
Problem is he's a Cowboys fan. That's the problem. Yeah.
well, okay, for you maybe. I mean, okay. I'm not saying I support the Dallas Cowboys, but they're a fun team to watch, just because Jerry Jones and all the crazy stuff that he does. So.
And they get in a lot of shootouts because their defense isn't very good because they traded Micah Parsons.
And honestly, that is, I mean, it might not be great for the Cowboys fans. For the casual fan, I like to watch those games where it's 42-40 or something like that. So, I would much rather watch 42-40 than I would 6-9. So,
I get that.
Yeah. All right.
I like a good 27-24. That's what I like.
Yeah. That gives you a little bit of both.
Yeah, just not too crazy. A little bit of defense.
Okay. All right, buddy. So let's see here. I want to make sure that we got all the sponsorships out of the way. I believe that we have, but I'm making sure here. You know what? We need to do the poll question real quick before we stop with our NFL stuff. Remember?
Oh yeah, the poll question. Yes. And I was looking at it before the show, and I was a little surprised about one thing. But yeah, go ahead.
All right. So let's pull this graphic up like we had last week. Let me go back out here to where I need to and take the graphic off the top so that everyone can see it. We, of course, do. We do this to where if you like the phone, kind of flipped up this way or over to the side or whatever way, we here at the Lights Out Sports Podcast want to give you guys everything that we can give you. So whether you like it vertical or horizontal, we tape it both ways for you and live as well. So last week we did the AFC. And the AFC North won when we said which team is going to have the better overall record. They won. So let's find out here in just a moment which team is going to win on the other side of the spot there. So let me pull up the poll question, Cheese. Talk about those 4 divisions for us real quick while I do that.
Yeah, so that last year, you can see it was pretty close with 3 of them. I mean, no one won more than 36 games. So very different than the NFC. But you also, I guess the AFC North was 10 under 500, but we know there was some big time underachieving in that division. But it doesn't look like any one division is so much better or worse than the other. And you saw there's a much bigger difference in the NFC because, the West has those 3 teams. So, and the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
I got a meme.
I'll put John up there. He was saying Rams, Eagles, Steelers. So he got 2 of the 3.
The Eagles was the first one. You got that. That was the first one I got as well. But I have a meme that I made. Shauna helped me as well. Coming out tomorrow. It'll be really funny. It's an NFC West meme. So I can't. You got the poll pulled up? Because I was trying to pull it up, but I can't.
I have it already.
I can't find it. Okay.
So we've got right at 250 people. I put it out a little later today than what I usually do. So it's basically the question is worded this way. Which AFC division will have the best overall record? Pretty simple. You've got the AFC North, you got the AFC South, you got the East, and you got the West. So, Cheese, I know you always vote on this. Where did you go with your vote, sir?
So I went with the AFC West.
Okay.
That's where I went with my vote. But I was torn between 2, and one of the ones I was torn between, well, I'll tell you when we reveal the results, did not do well in the poll. So that's what surprised me.
All right. So we will go over the poll here. Again, we appreciate there's still 16 hours left in this poll. So by all means, jump on it. Comment if you would like here on the poll. You can certainly do that. It's been It's been reposted and liked a bunch of times. We appreciate that. And like I said, right at 250 people have taken a look at it here, and these are the results. The AFC South finished last, 6.7%. They don't think they're going to do well at all. Then we've got two teams at 20% apiece, the East and the North. And that means that one team had to get a ton, and they did. The AFC West, which honestly would have been where I would have went as well, just because I think 3 of the 4 teams in that division are really, really good. AFC West got 53.3%. So next week in the poll question, the AFC West will go up against the NFC North, and we'll see which division that our fans think will get the best record overall. Anything you want to add to this, Cheese?
Yeah, I just was surprised that two things surprised me. The East, I thought I just missed that right away because I think the Dolphins and Jets are both going to be terrible. So I just don't. And the Patriots are bound to regress playing tougher schedule. Like they're not going to win 14 again. So I just missed the East right away. I was between the South and the West. I went West because I think the Chiefs and Raiders are going to win more games. I think Broncos and Chargers will still be good. But the South, I think the Titans are going to be better. The Jaguars probably won't win 13 games, but they're still going to be good. Texans are going to be good. If Daniel Jones stays healthy, the Colts, won't collapse again. I don't know. They were tied for first last year, the South. So I'm just a little surprised the South didn't do as well. Maybe, because I do think the Titans are definitely improved.
Right.
So I almost picked the South, but yeah, I do think the West is number one.
Well, last week I did pick the South, and the AFC was the ones we picked last week. Now the NFC was this week, and I went with the West this week. I don't vote, but
the West. Oh, it's definitely the West and NFC. I'll argue anybody.
Yes. Well, you can argue with people all you would like here, buddy, but I also think the North. So I think Minnesota's going to improve. I believe that Detroit will improve just because of the schedule they played this year versus the schedule they played last year. And it's just going to depend on whether the Packers can keep up with their same record from last year and if the Bears can do the same thing. And I think at least one of those two teams will regress, but I'm not sure it's going to be the Packers. I think the Bears are probably going to regress some, but I still think that NFC North is going to have a pretty good record when it's all said and done.
I'll just say this about the North. All 4 fan bases think they're winning the division. I don't know what's going to happen. They're going to beat each other up. I think it's going to be good, but the thing is, it's very possible that the top 3 teams in the West are better than anyone in the North, and that's why I say that. That's why I say the West. Even if Arizona wins like 3 or 4 games, I still think the West would be number 1. That's how good those other 3 teams are. So I definitely think it's the West. But if I had to pick number 2, I would pick the North.
Okay. All right, so we're going to go to our last segment here. Of course, that is our batting cleanup brought to you by forwardfan.com. Let's pull up the Forward Fan stuff here so you can see it and go to that if that's what you want to do. We really encourage you to do so. They are now doing tickets for the Super Bowl as well. So you can go to forwardfan.com. Use the code AGO10, which of course is all gloves off 10, and you'll get an exclusive 10% discount just for our fans. You scan that code, you go and you get your tickets and have a dream scenario. I don't know about you guys, but I've always wanted to go to, I've been to some playoff games. I have never been to a World Series. I've never been to a Super Bowl. It's on the bucket list. So I will get there eventually. And
Mike likes crowds. He likes crowds.
No, actually, Mike does not. But my wife calls me paranoid all the time because of the job that I do. I'm always looking at people's tattoos and I'm watching people like, okay, if anybody is going to shoot this place up, who's it going to be? And I'm always narrowing down suspects and all of this kind of thing. So
don't go to Citi Field. Okay.
Yeah, do not do that. But what you can do is go to forwardfan.com, use the code AGO10, scan it right there, and then take that 10% discount off of it because forwardfan.com allows you to do so with our exclusive code with them. All right, now I want to do this, Cheese, because so far you have not. I am going to plug your stuff before we get to the last spot here.
I did it once.
Did you do it once? Did I miss
I
it?
did it once when you're trying to get the 5
Oh, okay.
set
Yeah,
up.
when I at the very beginning of the show, that was fantastic podcasting. Yes.
Yes.
So football with cheese, and you can
That's
go
YouTube?
at
Yes.
football cheese
On X, yes.
on X. All right. So, and why I want to talk to him, he might not even know this. I was looking at your channel today because honestly, I
Oh,
was
you were
looking
the
to
one.
see-
Okay, good.
Yes, I was the one guy who was looking at your channel today because I really wanted to see how much we had done on YouTube between the All Gloves Off Sports Media YouTube, which is at All Gloves Off Sports Media, and then your YouTube. We put this show on both sites, so we did really well. By the way, I won't give you numbers because sometimes I feel like I'm bragging about stuff, but we have steadily increased, and we thank you guys very much for it. But what I want to talk about here is cheese is close. Cheese is close to monetization here, so I know you guys want to help him out. He's at 790 subscribers, which is really good for a channel like that. How long have you been doing this channel, Cheese?
Year and a half.
Year and a half. I mean, that's fantastic for a year and a half. And you might not know this part of it, but you are only 11 videos away from 1,000. Right now, you have done 989 videos. So we're getting ready to hit 2 milestones for Cheese. 1,000 videos, and we're pretty close to 1,000 subscribers. And we ask that you guys jump in and help him out with both of those things at Football Cheese on X and at Football with Cheese on YouTube. All right, guys. So we're looking at some different things here. I got to get over to the right note page here. All right. So the first thing I want to look at is the odds to win the World Series. I kept the top off of it there for a second because we're gonna do a few of these here. We're gonna bring some pictures up. So here is the first one: odds of winning the World Series. Nope, not worst hitters, not PCA. Where'd it go?
Tell you what,
We're not going to bring up the picture.
I'll say this while you're doing that. I'd much rather be a team contending in the American League than National League. Because it's just more wide open. There's so many teams still in it. It's just not as strong a league this year as the National League.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. So odds to win the World Series: LA still on top, plus 170. Then New York, Milwaukee, Atlanta at number 4, Tampa Bay at 5. The Cubs are at 6, just barely behind Tampa Bay there. The Red Sox have jumped all the way up to 7. The Phillies have dropped a little bit down to 8. Houston's back in the top 10, as well as the White Sox. So do we think LA is vulnerable, or do we still think they're number 1, Cheese?
I still think they're number 1. They still, they've shown some vulnerability last year, but once they got to the postseason, they're so talented. It's like just like the Rams in football. On paper, they just look so much better than everyone else. And one thing that's funny is Houston's like 1 game over 500, but I guess it's the Astros. They're in the top 10. That's crazy.
Crazy.
But they're in first place in their division because the American League is just weaker, especially the West.
Yeah, it certainly is. All right, so let's take that off for a second.
But do you agree with me? Do you think the Dodgers are the favorite? You've been in the past have been more like I've been more not how do I say this? I'm not pro Dodgers. I can't stand them, but just more like I think they are by far the favorite. I think they got like a 50% chance to win the NL. I said that before. You seem to be it's more up for grabs.
I think it is a little bit more up for grabs. I think this lackadaisical play by the Dodgers here, and that's what they're doing right now. I don't care what anybody says. They are looking at the standings and they're like, shoot, we got this one. We don't need to play as hard all the time. I really do. I've seen a few of their games. They went up against the Brewers. They didn't care if the Brewers beat the tar out of them for, I believe, 3 of those 4 games in that 4-game set. They could care less. They're still like, we're still going to win. It doesn't matter. Let's give the little kids over here hope, right? And I think that's going to end up biting them in the butt before it's all said and done. But and maybe it's because I hope that it bites them in the butt before it's all said and done.
I wonder if Kyle Tucker would be on the postseason roster if the season ended, but just or if the postseason started. I wonder if he would be.
That's a great question. I saw him
We'll
I
talk
saw
about
some
him
people
next
giving
week.
him- yeah, we can talk about him a little next week. I'll mention this. I did see a video of him crying in the dugout.
There's no crying in baseball. There's
Yeah,
no crying.
I mean, if you're going to do it, go down below, right? Don't just sit there on the bench where everybody's going to record you doing it. I mean, I
Trust
do
me.
want a guy who cares, and maybe that's how he shows that he cares for that team. But I don't know. I don't necessarily like it either. So
I'll just say this: no Cubs fans can feel bad for you. There was rumors that he wasn't like watching film. He wasn't on his iPad, like in the dugout, that he just, wasn't putting in the work. And so if he's still not doing that, it's his own fault. It's a shame.
The wake up call that he needs.
Like 3 years ago, he was one of the best hitters in the game. Like he was incredible. Like he wasn't good. He was amazing.
Yes,
it's sad. It's really sad. But he got paid.
Right. Not only did he get paid, but I think sometimes, and I think maybe this might be the Ketel Marte thing too. I think some of these players just think that they're so good that they don't have to put in that extra work, that they can just show up at the ballpark and take batting practice and then go out on the field and they're good.
Or even subconsciously, you don't work as hard. You don't realize it, but you don't work as hard because you've gotten paid. You have that security. So you might work off season or put in film like 80, 85% what you used to. And if you do that, or maybe even less than that, you're not going to be as successful. But his drop off has been tremendous. I mean, it's just, he's terrible. He's a bad player. Let's be honest. He's a bad fielder. He's a bad hitter. So, yeah.
Right the moment he is. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. We'll talk about him here in just a moment too. Second thing here in batting cleanup presented by forwardfan.com. Obviously, there's going to be 4 of them because it's cleanup. So we're batting in the 4 position. Carlos Santana Cheese was released from the Braves AAA club in hopes of playing in the big leagues again. He's hitting 292, 385, 383 with 2 homers and 104 plate appearances. I understand why the Braves released him. He's not going to start over Matt Olson. But do you think he'll be able to latch on somewhere and maybe be able to close out his career on a winning note?
He would probably need an injury. There's really not a team out there, I don't think, that would sign him unless there's an injury. And the Braves do this. So like Alex Anthopoulos, the GM, he believes in having like a true first baseman. They signed Ryan Howard to a minor league deal, like a couple of years ago at the end of his career, just in case Matt Olson got hurt. Just in case, I want a true first baseman in the playoffs. I don't want someone it's like a backup catcher, backup third baseman that can fill in. He always does that. He puts, a veteran in AAA at the end of his career. But no, I think it would take an injury.
Okay. So let's look at some relief pitchers here. I didn't realize that this was this close and that we had 3 from the same team here, but there are 6 pitchers in all of Major League Baseball that have at least 3 innings and they have an ERA below 1.90 out of the bullpen but Toronto has 3 of the 6 of them. So kind of crazy here. You see Mason Miller, you see Luis Varland, you see Tyler Rogers, Brent Hedrick, Paul Blackburn, and Spencer Miles. Now, Toronto, and then San Diego, New York, and New York. Geez, I didn't realize, buddy, and maybe you did, but I did not. The AL wildcard standings all of a sudden. The Yankees are 8.5 up on everybody else. The Red Sox are 6.5 up. I teased this earlier in the show. The Baltimore Orioles, the Texas Rangers, and the Detroit Tigers, 2 of those teams that sold off at the trade deadline, are all tied for that 3rd wild card spot.
I know. It's up for grabs. It's crazy.
It is up for grabs because the Minnesota Twins are only a half a game out. The Toronto Blue Jays are only a half a game out. The Cleveland Guardians are 1 game out, and the Mariners are 2 games out. And Cleveland and Seattle have both gone 3-7 in their last 10, and there's still only 1 and 2 games out. It's like nobody wants to get that 3rd spot.
This is why the Twins, people criticize them for buying deadline. They traded for like 4 relievers because their bullpen stunk. They're like, well, look at this. Like we should go for it. We're right there. Like all these other teams are selling that are like have the same record as us. But it's still amazing that the Blue Jays aren't better than they are. They sold. They traded Varsho. It's just the lineup obviously isn't near what it was last year, but the Blue Jays were as good as anyone last year. There were two of those World Series games. It went 7. They could have easily won. Should have won one of them. It's just amazing the drop off of the Blue Jays, especially looking at the bullpen, how good those 3 guys are. It's just, but they have a lot of guys in their lineup that are having really bad seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. And then here is the last thing that we will look at here. Let's see. Let me make sure.
I hope Kim isn't on the list. Hopefully he doesn't qualify.
So we're going to look at the worst hitters at home when it comes to a certain stat. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is our yeah. So the lights out terms, right? I thought about calling it Tuesday terminology. I'm still playing with the title here. So you guys give me some suggestions in the comments if you like, or if you're watching this on tape delay 2 or 3 days from now, shoot me over a message and let me know. OPS plus, that's what they're looking at here. That's the highlighted column. It is adjusted on base plus slugging, and it's the stat that takes a hitter's OPS and we'll call it normalizes it, because it considers 2 main factors, Cheese. Park adjustments, and we know not every park is the same, right? Coors Field and everything else is not the same. So it takes those park adjusted factors into effect.
Right.
And it also does an ERA adjustment. So, making the steroid error and any pitcher dominated area basically even, or as even as it can be. So thus it allows you to compare, players from now and the 1940s and from the 1950s to the 1980s and all of that stuff. So if you look at those 2 spots, that's basically what OPS plus does. And you can look here. It's a little harder for me to see because I'm old, so I'm getting a little closer to the screen here. I hope I don't scare anybody. But you got let's see, Gavin Sheets at the bottom, Cam Smith. You got Trevor Walls. You got
Taylor Walls, yeah.
Is it Taylor Walls? I'm sorry. You got Brooks Lee.
Ezekiel Tovar.
There you go. Thanks. Why don't you go ahead and rattle them off, because it's really hard for me to see that. I'm old, all right?
Xander Bogaerts, 5-4. Cal Riley, which is probably the worst crash I've ever seen in the history of baseball from one year to the next. Number 3, Marcus Simeon. Whew, what happened to him? 2, Nasim Nunez, and 1, Kyle Tucker, 55 OPS plus, which is horrific.
Right. 100 is league average, so he is almost 50 points under at Dodger Stadium. So that's awful. He's only hit 2 home runs at Dodger Stadium, and he's batting $189. So you can see all the stats right there. But we talked about Tucker a little bit, and we said he's not doing very well. Cheese, this is a little more than not doing very well.
This is at home, correct?
Yes, this is at home for all of these guys.
You're supposed to be better at home. You're supposed to your ballpark.
Yes.
You sleep in your bed. I mean, this is bad. There's a lot of surprises on this list. I'm not going to get into Kyle Raleigh. We're going to talk about that for sure at some point, maybe off season. We're going to talk about him a lot, but I think there's 2 that are really surprising me because they're.
What 2?
They were such big prospects, and I loved. They had the hit tool. Like, they were prospects that could hit. Like, I thought they were high floor prospects. Brooks Lee, Minnesota. I was shocked. I mean, I remember when he was drafted by the Twins, I was hoping he followed the Cubs because of that hit tool. So that surprises me. And Cam Smith was traded to the Astros for Tucker to the Cubs. I hated giving him up. He was the guy that was drafted, in July. By the end of August, he's in Double-A. Like, he skipped 3 levels like that. He just hit everything in the minors.
Yep.
And I think the Cubs, maybe they thought he's overachieving the minors, but still, I really thought, I mean, he's only in his 2nd year, so he could still be great. I really thought he would be an all-star. Well, he still could, but those 2 surprised me. Just because they're really good, talented young players.
Yeah, and this is one of the things you asked me earlier about the Dodgers, right? So the Dodgers just seem to throw money at everything and just assume it's all going to be all right. Well, this signing of Kyle Tucker looks really bad right at the moment, and then there's another signing that looks really bad right now. They just put him on the IL a few I believe it was today, actually. Edwin Diaz looks terrible. They can't get a closer in LA to save their life. So they just seem to put money out there, and it's like, let's bring in whoever we think is the best. They just did it with Scooble, and they're going to continue to do it until it gets even. And we'll have a really big show on the collective bargaining agreement and stuff like that, and how it can all be evened out. I think we don't need a salary cap as far as I'm concerned, but we'll talk about that more when the off season comes and we need to do a big special and all of that stuff. So we will get to all that, ladies and gentlemen. It'll be sometime soon. All right, man. That's the show.
Kyle Tucker, 4 years, $240 million.
Whew.
They're going to hope he opts out. Yeah, right. He has 2 opt-outs. So I just want to say this. My Arizona Cardinal positive video is out tomorrow. I recorded it today. Recorded it actually right before the show today. So it's going to be out tomorrow. Arizona Cardinals, I'm going to be positive in the video, the whole video. I'm going to be positive.
The whole thing, not just part of it?
I'm going to be positive. Well, I mean, you got to bring up, okay, maybe this not be good. But then I turn it around. And it's actually, I think, my longest one so far. Because I try to, I take the teams that are rebuilding and I try to spin it. So, yeah, that'll be out tomorrow. Once again, it's Football with Cheese YouTube, X Football Cheese. And subscribe, hit the bell. So you don't miss any of my videos.
I will let you let this cat out of the bag for a moment. We'll talk about it next week when we come back on the air, as always, at the same time, same place here every Tuesday night, the Lights Out Sports Podcast. We will be doing a giveaway. Ourselves and the Hit Machine are going to combine together to where you follow both of us, or, we'll have some kind of social media thing that you need to do to help us out. And then if you do, we're going to have a gift for everyone. Someone will get one pretty nice gift. We'll reveal what it is next week right here on the show. Anything else you want to add to the end, buddy?
No, just, come check out the channel. And, I'm doing every team, 32 teams, 32 days. I'm being positive and everything go right in your season. So, go to Football with Cheese. And, we do this every Tuesday night, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific.
And I want to do one more thing, Cheese. I know we talked about it a little bit off air. I want to send out a challenge right now.
Okay.
If you are a content creator and you're watching this show because, you want to find out how the 2 best content creators do their show. I'm sure that's why you're watching this show, right?
Best.
We challenge you. Cheese and I are going to challenge you. Yes. We want to do a fantasy football with a whole bunch of content creators. Let's get 10 or 12 of us together and let's see who the best really is at fantasy football. We lay down that challenge right here on the Lights Out Sports Podcast. I'm going to tell you, I will probably host the show, so Cheese over here will be doing the picking, but I'm sure he's going to beat every single one of you who's decide to come at the Cheese.
Pick all Miami Dolphins offensive players.
Yes, that will be great.
That's my advice.
Okay.
Don't do that.
We'll see if they heed it. All right, buddy. Hey,
do you even know a wide receiver on the Dolphins? Could you name one? Because most people can't. A wide receiver on the Dolphins? Yeah, exactly.
No, because you don't have Hill anymore. You don't have Randall. You don't have Waddle anymore. You don't have.
Their depth chart is like Malik Washington, Caleb Douglas right now. Tight end Greg Dulcich. I'm not even joking.
I don't even know who that is. So, but they may be able to pick up a few receivers from the Arizona Cardinals wide receiver room because they're going to have to let some of those guys go, I think. And they've got pretty good depth over there. So
they do.
We'll see how all that ends up unfolding. All right, guys. Thank you all very much. We appreciate it. For myself, Mike Valentine, and my good buddy Cheese right there, we appreciate you coming on with us and listening the entire 2 hours of the show. Thank you. We appreciate you. And as we say at the end of every broadcast, the only thing that's fair in life is a baseball hit between the third and first base lines. Good evening, everyone.